Reassuring things. One. Two.
Civil War.
Woohoo! All right. Finally got that working.
Oh, good.
All right, so welcome everybody to the anti-color revolution. We finished our test streams and we actually figured out how to work all the extra bells and whistles for this thing. And to everyone, a happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everyone.
So for the pilot episode, I've got I myself, the CEO here. We've got the editor, and then we've got this guy as our stand-in for the feral cat wrangler. Whew. Man, it's been a hell of a week. Tried to get this done last week, but things just kept coming up. It is what it is. I mean, we are Chaos Media after all. It's all sorts of insanity that usually follows. All right, so we've got quite a few topics. Let's see here. We've got the more camera trouble. Nothing you can do about that. Happens. That's why I got this basic crappy one I got that's USB. All the fancy little Bluetooth ones that they had, it's like I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. It was ridiculous.
Actually, the camera's fine. It's just my wife is busy feeding the dogs.
Oh, all right. By all means. I was worried that I wind up having to mail you another one.
No, the camera's working, thank goodness.
That's good. Now, as I know before, you had a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah. Let's not jinx it, but yeah, no, everything seems to be good.
All right, that's cool. So let's see here. We got team takeovers in Shirakistan. We got reparations possibly happening in Shirakistan. Pam Blondie, or Bondi as everyone calls her, got terminated, and she's being temporarily replaced by Captain Conspiracy. So we got something really fun on that from Alex Jones. Then we've got the clip you found about Pete Hegseth rearming the troops on the bases so they can not have to settle for like some rusty M16 that's from Nam and just go ahead and go out to a gun store and get a regular one, like a civilized human being.
Well, more so, they can actually carry sidearms on them now. So
yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Large.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the point was of disarming the troops. I mean, okay, if one of our bases gets invaded by a foreign asset, hold on, wait right here while we run to the armory. That doesn't work. You have to be able to handle whatever you encounter when you encounter it. It didn't make sense to me for them to do that.
Red tape, just like the stuff we had during Bill Clinton's time, and I think most of that got enacted because it was all the fallout from Fort Kent, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, though.
I lived through it. I don't even remember, to be completely honest with you. All I remember about that era is no one liked Bush Sr., at least around here. No one liked him. So everyone voted for Ross Perot, and that's how we got Clinton. It's the same way that, in the beginning of the century, how we got stuck with Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Usually, I've noticed this. Whenever there is a split in the Republican vote, that's usually one of the ways Democrats get in. It's usually, like, I mean, the reason Obama got in is because everyone who was black was voting for him, basically. Almost everyone. There was a few that didn't.
Yeah.
And then all of the virtue signaling white assholes, they all voted for him.
Yep.
And all the illegals voted for him because they figured they were going to get free shit, and they did. They got a free ticket home. That is one of the things I will give Obama credit for. He was throwing them out of the country faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. we got Jimmy Carter because of what happened with Nixon and then Ford. Nixon getting impeached, and then Ford.
Being
No one
thereafter.
Yeah, no one liked Ford because of how milquetoast he was. He wasn't exciting. He wasn't a person that people liked. So, we got Carter, and the main reason we got Carter is because he was first cousins with June Carter, who was Johnny Cash's band. So when you have people like Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson thumping for a presidential candidate, especially in that era, they're going to get in.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Were they wrong?
Yeah. Well, they weren't wrong. It's just they gave us the wrong choice. Like, I mean, I was briefly alive during Carter's administration, so I was a kid, a very little kid. I was a toddler when Carter was president, and I remember Reagan's presidency fondly. That was as American as I would like Trump's second term to be. The problem is you have these naysayers. Reagan had his detractors too.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as vocal as it is today.
All right, go ahead on. Just make sure you have your keys on you and your handgun. All right, let me know if you need help putting the suspenders on, all right? Okay, that works. First time we've had nice weather.
Yeah, we got the opposite here. It's Gotham City weather. The sky is gray and it's slightly drizzling. It kind of looks like a Cypress Hill album cover outside.
Nice. Oh, we had that over here for the past 3 days.
Yeah. Well, at least it's a nice change from all the snow you had.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. With thunderstorms of there being nothing but snow on the ground in the morning. It was absolutely confusing and lovely. Hadn't had that in, 10 years.
Yeah, it's why when I leave New York, no disrespect to the Midwest, I'm going to the South. I'm not staying up here. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with this latitude. I've been here my entire life. It was 47 years as of last Tuesday. I'm good. I'm very good. I am done. I'm no longer interested in being up here. I was actually looking at spots in Georgia and Florida.
Nice.
I was actually looking at Georgia because I didn't know this. Their gun laws are even more lax than Florida's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, if I wanted to go really loose gun laws and go down south, I could go to either Mississippi or Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. But I'm good.
Kentucky's really hot, man. Been there, done that. Holy shit.
Well, Georgia's hot as hell.
Like in Florida.
Yeah, Georgia's also hot. I'd be sharing. I would actually, where I was looking at in Georgia, I would be right above the Florida state line. So, yeah, that's fine for me. I get Florida without having to pay the Florida prices.
With all the drug addicts running around trying to molest your animals.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. When was the last time you heard of a news report about Georgia man? You don't hear that.
Yeah, Jesus. I should have thrown one of those in for the sheer hell of it to be funny.
Yeah. Believe it or not, though, Florida man is part of what I find appealing about the state. I just love the fact that you could sit there and witness madness just by walking out your front door. That to me is really cool. I mean, here the crimes are dangerous. They're not humorous at all.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the crimes down there are actually, yes, there's obviously some dangerous crime down there, but I mean, holy God, some of the stuff I hear coming out of there, it to me that just it makes it worth. I'm glad I'm going to be close enough where I can take a day trip on a weekend down there, watch all the wacky shit unfold, and then go back home where it's normal. That's fine for me. But yeah. Again, I'm not shitting on this latitude. I am shitting on the weather though. I can't do it no more. I don't like winter. I'm not into snow, not into ice.
It's all good. I feel you. I'm used to it, so I'm well acclimated.
I'm used to it too. It's just I'm done with the acclimation. I'm going to be 50.
Mm.
I'm at the point where I'd like to get down there, with everyone walking around with their socks and sandals, and their Hawaiian shirts and their khaki shorts. I'm good with that. I could deal with it just fine. I get to drive around in a pickup truck with a semi-automatic rifle and my dogs.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah. The only thing that's missing is beer, but I don't think beer rifles and the trucks really should be mixed anyway. So I can wait till I get home for the beer.
Yeah, I feel you. Now
Yeah.
that Lent's over, I'm actually able to indulge for a change. So, I'll get into that later. But
But
what one should we break into first here? What are you thinking?
well, since we were just talking Second Amendment, why don't we start off with the best and shortest news? The thing with Hegseth.
Hell yeah! All right, let's get into that one then.
Yeah.
So, speaking of what we started on with Fort Hood and all of the insanity that's gone on between then and now, Pete Hegseth decided that it was a very smart idea to allow to rearm, reload, and re-sign a few things into law so that the troops now can have something other than standard issue. They can be like Florida men without the felonies of bestiality and unlawful possession and use of a deadly weapon of any kind, including a toothbrush on one occasion, so I heard. So they can just go to a firearms store, get themselves regular firearm, get their own ammunition, and just come right on base. Hey, I'm going to use this to patrol with.
Yeah. I'm thinking though, can you imagine how many of these troops, especially in the Bible Belt, are going to have their, like their own sidearm on them? Because the sidearms, for those of you who were watching who were not familiar with this, they only issue sidearms to the officers. But because of the law Hegseth put in place now, you can have your own sidearm on you if you're an enlisted guy. I'm just imagining, like, again, down like in parts like Bama, parts like Mississippi, how
Mhm.
many of these good old boys can be walking around with like a nickel-plated Desert Eagle on their hip?
Oh,
Like,
tons. I could see that. I mean, shoot, you kidding
yeah,
me? I'm expecting just about, good lord, everyone who's at any base in Illinois and Indiana, they're going to be buying Glocks. Glocks
yeah,
aplenty. Like
yeah,
the sidearm of choice for my tri-state area is a Glock of some kind or another.
yeah,
Cop tested, criminal approved.
yeah. And that's the thing with Glocks. It's what is it now? Going on 40 years or more. They're reliable.
Yeah.
You can get parts from easy. Um, it's like the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked it better if it was an American sidearm that everyone was
Mm-hmm.
going to grab. But I mean, let's be real.
It is
A
what it
lot of
is.
yeah, a lot of people, they're talking about how there are more modern offerings and there are better offerings than Glock, which there are. But
Yeah.
the thing of it that they forget is when you're talking about something that's got between 80 and 90% of the market share,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people don't realize, there are people who own Glocks. They're not gun people.
Mm-hmm.
They needed a
They're
gun.
engineering people usually.
Well, I'm just saying they needed a gun, so
Mm-hmm.
they went and bought a Glock.
Yeah.
It's like if you're one of those people and you're not a car person
Mm-hmm.
and you need to commute, you buy a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's literally the same vein. It's okay. I need a
Mm-hmm.
car. I'm not a car person. Where I grew up, we weren't into
I just
cars.
need that one. Point A to point B. Nothing
Yeah,
fancy.
exactly. So you get something, no bells, no whistles.
Yeah.
What's the most reliable car in the country? Toyota Corolla. What's the most I can get the most aftermarket parts for? Toyota
Mm-hmm.
Corolla. It's basically like, again,
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to be American, but it's not. And it's ironic with now in the same vein as those two. If I were going to buy a rifle
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a rifle person, well, what am I going to buy? Well, the most reliable thing, if you just want a long gun in your house, you're going to go with an AK platform
Yep.
for the same reason. So they all fall into the same category,
Yeah.
which is basically you don't have to be a rifle person to buy an
Mm-hmm.
AK. You don't
Yeah.
need to be a car person to buy a Toyota, and you don't need to be a gun person to buy a Glock.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's why they got like AK-47 everything. I mean, shoot, we've got Brandon Herrera in office now, so.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild ride the next couple of years. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'd like to see if I'm just dying to see when the numbers come out. How many people who are active duty
Hmm.
turn around and are using their serviceman's discount to get ammunition? Because I'm thinking
Hmm.
about it, this is going to be a boon for the industry. If you now have all these people who are active duty, you're going to have people who didn't think before about even getting their own thing until they got out of the service. So you're going to have multiple people who are active duty like, I could probably get a serviceman's discount. So why don't I go stock up now? So they're going to go and they're going to start
Hmm.
buying tons of stuff. I mean, firearms, you're probably going to see a lot of firearm sales spike because, again, if I get the active duty serviceman's discount, okay, well, I was going to buy these rifles over a 4 or 5 year span when I got out. Why don't I buy them over the 4 or 5 year span when I'm in?
I bet you they're going to give them a special layaway deal too.
That's exactly. So this is going to be great for the domestic industries as far as manufacture and then aftermarket part sales and ammunition distribution. It's going to be great to get those numbers up, which is good
Oh yeah.
because you're going to have, I'm sure there's people that are going to watch this broadcast and they're going to be like, well, I don't want to see this much sales. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. Yeah, but you do want to see your social programs and the tax money that's allocated from all of those sales of ammunition and firearms is going to feed into those social programs. So,
Yep.
if you want your bleeding heart shit, you're going to have to deal with this. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Tax revenue is tax revenue.
Hmm.
It's one of those things like the environmentalist. Oh, I don't want cars anymore. Okay, how are you going to replace all the taxes that you get from tolls? The taxes that you get from the sales of the cars, the taxes you get from when people have to have an oil change, when they need to get tires, when they need a
Yeah.
tune up,
Or the regular gas tax.
and the gas tax, exactly. So you have to think, you want to have your cake and eat it too. That's great.
Mhm.
But then don't bitch when it goes to your hips. You
Pretty
know,
much. Yeah.
everything has a price.
Yeah. Especially for
But
the people like, oh no, we don't want any foreign investment in that. And it's like, well, if you have service members purchasing these firearms, this ammunition, then there's a possibility, hey, we won't have to rely on the checks so much to go ahead and buy out our arms infrastructure when it comes to ammunition production. Maybe we can basically, get some back in our own hands because I'm sure eventually some Marine is going to go, hey, this is really cool. How about some buddies and I start an FFL? They're going to start making their own ammo, I'm sure. I can
yeah,
see that happen.
so can I.
Hmm.
The question is then, how much further is it going to go? And what I mean by that is they start the FFL and they start manufacturing. Okay, so since they're active service people, they're going to probably get a discount on the parts that they need, the things for machining. And then you're going to have other service people that are going to see that and they're going to be like, oh, so I could do this then.
Yeah,
And
wait until you get
you
the Army Corps engineers on it. They'll be like, oh boy,
right,
really?
or the CBs over in the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to then see a boon, basically a golden age of domestic manufacturing. And you're
Yep.
going to get a lot more offerings because there's only so many times you can try to reinvent the wheel.
Hmm.
So you know that as well as I do. You're going to see probably in the next 5 to 10 years, is as long as this stays in place, as long as
Yeah.
like after Trump is out, God forbid we don't get some nut job Democrat who goes in and starts to, like take an axe to everything.
Yeah.
If we're able to keep the Republicans in office, you're going to see then in the next 4 years after Trump's term, you'll see new offerings coming out that no one's ever seen before, because you're going now again, like you said, if there's incentivization for these engineers to start designing new types of firearms,
Hmm.
you're going to see a whole new plethora of new types of firearms come to market.
Oh yeah,
Which again,
especially what was it? The Sonoran Desert Institute.
yes,
I think don't
yes,
they have a discount for veterans or active service members?
yeah, but think about how many who are active who are already educated in how to do this for machining
Mm.
parts and all that. That's what I'm saying. So Never mind having to go through the Sonoran Desert Institute, and I'm not knocking them either. I'm just stating, okay,
Right.
so you're going to have all these people that are going to be trying to, out Herod and put a new and radical design. I mean, just to throw one out there, it's an Italian firm, the Chiappa Rhino.
Yeah, I
All,
remember the Chiappa. Yeah, that was a
all,
weird abomination.
but that's my point. They thought outside the box. So in the land of the free, in the home of the brave, where we do nothing but out of the box thinking, think about how many offerings you're going to get in the next 4 to 8 years
Oh
that are
God, they're gonna
going
try
to
and
be
outdo Caltech.
exactly. You're going to we're going to be entering because of headset simply doing this. We're going to be entering a new golden era of domestic manufacturing because you're now with the restrictions loosened up like this. You will have these guys who work on base who are going to they're going to have their own little work areas because some of them they might be NCOs. They might be sergeants. They might be a first lieutenant who has a few NCOs and corporals under him, and they get together. And next thing you know, they come out with this thing, and you're looking at it and like, what the hell is this? Oh, this is the such and such and such and such chambered and such and such and such and such, and it does this, and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
I've never seen an operating system like this before. Yeah, well, we looked at this and we looked at that, and it gave us the idea, like, and you're going to think about it. You will probably entering an era of innovation that we have not seen since John Moses Brown.
Oh man, I love it. This will be like all of the jokes they crack about anarcho-capitalism.
Right?
You'd have a fully automatic, just what do they call those? PDWs, and it'll have like a flamethrower and like a laser sight and a little like fidget spinner that actually like launches a drone or something.
Yeah. And you're going to have people that are going to be making things. I mean, now that Japan has actually perfected rail guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would not be surprised if within the next few years, because they did that, and now because Hegseth signed this law, I wouldn't be surprised if before the close of the decade, or at least the beginning of the next decade, one of these. I wouldn't be surprised.
Going through like the whole. All right, damn. You can go up and down the block though.
I went up and down. I stopped my thighs.
Oh, well, you haven't rode it a good minute. The weather's been ass. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. Just put some icy hot on it. I got it in the work medical bag. Just go grab my keys if you need it.
I'll be fine.
Okay. You're welcome. Yeah, they closed the damn park at the end of the street.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Easter Sunday. That's probably why.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
they
because
still haven't patched the massive hole in the gate, though. Someone was a drunk driver and just smacked right into it and pulled out.
Yeah. The other thing you have to realize is they don't want to have to pay the holiday pay for the security officers to go and check on the park or for the parks department to actually be working today. It's the reason it's closed.
Yeah.
Because you get holiday pay, which is time. It might actually be double time, depending on your municipality. So figure if they're paying them just $10 an hour, well then today they'd be making 20, as opposed to 15 being standard overtime. So
gotcha.
Yeah, that might be why they don't want it open. But no, as I was saying though, think about this. You might see then in the next 5 to 10 years a group of enlisted men showing up at SHOT Show and showing you what they did while they were working, skeleton shift over at Fort Hood. Oh, okay, yeah, look, we made this. What is it? It looks like some sort of wild AR-15. Oh, actually, this is a rail gun.
Dude,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I can see that happening because I know over in Japan, they've got that Gundam they've been working on forever as a major tourist attraction, and they've actually been able to get the legs to work. Wait until they put a railgun on the fucking shoulder of that damn thing.
Yeah. Well, now that the Japanese have perfected the technology, you know damn well because they're an ally, we're going to go in and we're going to basically buy the technology off of them. And once we figure out how to do it ourselves, I'm not trying to knock the Japanese, but we'll make a better one because that's just how the country is.
Mhm.
And yeah, you probably will see it within, hopefully within both our lifetimes, but at least within yours. You're
Mhm.
going to see, more likely than not, we might move away from chemical propellants in firearms. They may actually, you may see us enter the age of rail weaponry, where you're no longer carrying a 1911.
Mhm.
You'll be carrying like a 2035, and the 2035 it shoots bullets at basically Mach 3.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And there's going to be no more suppressors because there's no noise.
You won't hear it just because it'll be so fast. It'll
We're
break
not
the
even that.
sound
It's an electromagnetic pulse that moves these bullets forward. There's no noise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you pull the gun, and for a split second, you're like, did it fire? Until you hear the pating from it hitting the wall that you were aiming at. Like, oh, okay, it fired. Yeah, that's how you're going to get confirmation that you hit something, is either through visual from seeing it hit, or the audio when it bounces back from it actually hitting the target. The firearm itself is not going to emit any noise.
Nice.
You may hear like an actual, like a from like the thing sending out the pulse
Charging
wave
and all that, yeah.
to move the projectile forward, but otherwise you're not going to hear anything. So again, I don't want to sit too long on this topic myself, but this is all now going to be made possible because by Hegseth making this simple rule where now they can carry on base, the extrapolation to the next step is now they can manufacture on base.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So
all right, let me see if I can get the screen share to work here. Let me go play the video. All right. Let's see here. It is. Oh, where is it? Did I not pull it up? I swore I did. All right, let me go ahead and grab that real quick. I must have missed that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, copy. Yep, that was on me. I forgot to copy and paste it. All right. These things happen.
That they do.
Well, that's the good thing about this being a pilot. That and also doing all the other test streams so we know, okay, if this doesn't happen, we can do this, and then boom, get it up.
Right.
Yep. All right. Headset for the troops. Audio is enabled. Boom. All right, here we go.
A live look at the White House. While we're talking about Secretary Hegseth, let's talk about some other Hegseth headlines. Secretary Hegseth earlier today saying that he will allow service members to carry personal weapons onto military installations, citing the Second Amendment and recent shootings at bases across the country. He said, our military installations have been turned into gun-free zones, leaving our service members vulnerable and exposed. That ends today. He posted this video.
Our great republic was founded on a simple yet bold idea. Our rights as citizens are not granted to us by government, but instead by God. 250 years ago, the Revolutionary War was fought to secure our God-given rights. The Second Amendment to our Constitution enshrines the right of all citizens to carry weapons to protect themselves, their families, and their fellow countrymen. The War Department's uniformed service members are trained at the highest and unwavering standards. These warfighters, entrusted with the safety of our nation, are no less entitled to exercise their God-given right to keep and bear arms than any other American. Our warfighters defend the right of others to carry. They should be able to carry themselves. Recent events like what happened at Fort Stewart, Holloman Air Force Base, or Pensacola Naval Air Station have made clear that some threats are closer to home than we would like. In these instances, minutes are a lifetime, and our service members have the courage and training to make those precious short minutes count. Before today, it was virtually impossible. Most people probably don't know this. It was virtually impossible for War Department personnel to get permission to carry and store their own personal weapons aligned with the state laws where we operate our installations.
Oh, you got to be
I mean,
shitting me.
Effectively, our bases across the country were gun-free zones. Unless you're training or unless you are a military policeman, you couldn't bring your own firearm for your own personal protection onto post. Well, that's no longer. The memo I'm signing today directs installation commanders to allow requests for personal protection to carry a privately owned firearm, with the presumption that it is necessary for personal protection. If a request is for some reason denied, the reason for that denial will be in writing and will explain in detail the basis for that direction. Again, the presumption is service members will be able to have their Second Amendment right on post. Not all enemies are foreign, nor are they all outside our borders. Some are domestic. Confirming your God-given right to self-protection is what I'm signing into action today, and I'm proud to do so.
Secretary Hegseth posting that earlier today. While we continue to track the story, there obviously have been questions about why service members lacked access to weapons. The AP says these questions have often emerged following shootings on the nation's military bases. Such shootings have ranged from isolated events between service members to mass casualty events that include shootings by an Army psychiatrist at Texas's Fort Hood in 2009, which left 13 people dead. As you heard there, Hegseth cited some of the events in his video, including a shooting that injured 5 soldiers at Fort Stewart in Georgia last year. And officials are saying the shooter, an Army sergeant who worked at that base, used his personal handgun before he was tackled by fellow soldiers and arrested.
Nice.
Yeah, I love how they use that as their justification. Like, okay, we had an incident that happened, so that's it. Well, no, beef up the security more.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've been saying this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have people in the service who have psychological problems?
Desperation, yes.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be an extremely small tent of people who have no psychological problems. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like saying it like this, but I see that we had a lot of the trans people that they put into the service. No. I mean, I've seen. How many shootings has it been in the past 2-3 years that it turned out it was a trans person? Like 90% of them.
Oh, Jesus, a good portion of them, because there's that Zizian cult where all the members are transgenders, various perversions, more or less, because with how complicated it gets, it's like, I really don't need to know what you're doing in the bedroom, but okay, you don't identify as what you're born as, so you decide to become a terrorist? Basically. Like, in all honesty, it's something insane that I would normally have seen in Cowboy Bebop when I was a kid. Because they did a couple different episodes touching on things of that nature. That and the different stuff they had with the planets and the planet governments and the different rights organizations they had for the different galaxies and that. It's like something like nuts like that. But yeah, a lot of the different attacks have been like Zizian cult members or Zizian cult allies. Or other people who have just decided, all right, well, we don't like this person or that person, like what happened to Charlie Kirk.
You know,
that have happened on Tucker, I think, and Rand Paul too, if I remember correctly. But I think that was just his neighbor who beat the crap out of him.
Do you know what's fucked up? There was a movie about 30 years ago now, maybe. It had a long title. It was To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar was the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Wesley Snipes, John Leguizamo, and Patrick Swayze as drag queens.
Mm-hmm.
The thing of it was, I took my wife to the specialist on Good Friday. She had to go to the gastrointestinal specialist for her annual checkup because she's got to go for the colonoscopy and everything. You got to do that every few years when you get to be around our age. And they had a commercial It was an internal commercial on their TV screen for their own channel for their business. And the person who they had on, there was two women, and one of the two women was a trans person that looked exactly like Patrick Swayze in that movie.
I guess it caught on, huh?
I was looking and I'm like, this is supposed to be a woman. This guy looks like he could beat the shit out of me, and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
It's a big man that they had there, and he's talking to this woman, and all I kept thinking of was the female ogres in Shrek.
Yeah.
Just, big, massive guy. Definitely could tell he played football when he was younger. Or if not football, he played lacrosse or rugby or something else. Something else where you need somebody the size of a Winnebago running down the field with the ball. And this is it. Yeah. And they had this person there. And it's one of those things where, I'm not trying to be discriminatory against the trans folks, but I mean, come on, really? You have this woman next to this guy in drag, and the guy in drag looks like he could eat her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, a lot of people pay good money for that, huh?
Again, you want to do that in your own house, that's fine, but I shouldn't have to have it shoved in my face constantly. It gets under my skin.
I hear you, man.
But not to go off topic too far with this, I understand what they're saying with they were worried about the shootings at the bases.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if it's an isolated incident, if you have to point to 2 to 3 incidents in the past 20, 30 years, when we have how many bases in this country, and we have how many people who are armed on these bases, it's no different than, okay, there was 2 or 3 drunk driving accidents, so we're going to take away cars.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Instead, you've got to put safeguards in place, which is why we have checkpoints on the highway. And again, I understand we want more people to enlist. That's great. But if you enlist the crazy bastards, don't sit there and punish the rest of the troops when the crazy bastards do crazy shit.
Yeah, like in the movie Apocalypse Now.
If you keep the crazies out, and they're not going to do crazy things. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You keep the people in who are in there who are just boring, milquetoast, plain Jane, have nothing wrong with them. Guess what happens? Nothing, because they're boring. Boring people don't do exciting shit.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh, I hear you. Well, to the new law. Now that Lent is over and I can actually resume libations. that was difficult giving that up.
Yeah, the beer distributor by you must be thrilled.
Yeah, like, oh boy, sales are going to go back up. Yeah, that's going to keep the interns working.
Yeah, because they've said that because cigarettes are too hard to give up because of all the addictive chemicals in it, that most people give up alcohol as opposed to giving up tobacco. So, ironically, every Lent, the alcohol sales dip and the tobacco sales spike. Because people who can't drink, they're sitting there and they're like, I want a beer, I want a beer, I want a beer. They start chain smoking if they're smokers.
Yeah, it's the one thing I like about the pipe tobacco.
Yeah.
It's relatively affordable, just got to go over state lines. Yeah. There's over in our neck of the woods, we had some old thumper decide that he was going to try and dissuade people from smoking and dying of lung cancer or something to that effect by increasing the tax on the sale of anything that's tobacco.
I can't even handle tobacco anymore. I'm not a smoker per se, but I used to when I was younger. I'd like a good cigar if I went out with the guys. So I went out with my coworkers. I went out with my coworkers for a round, and we had cigars. I had a Macanudo, was probably about yay big, a small cigar, stubby.
Not bad. It's like one of the acid cigars, yeah.
I came home, ate something, had like I think a glass of apple juice or something, ate some, and that was it. I woke up the next day still tasting the damn cigar.
Yeah, I believe it.
Could not get that taste out of my mouth, and so I brushed my teeth the night before I went to sleep, brushed my teeth again when I got up, ate something, had a cup of coffee, the works, and then I had to brush my teeth like two. I wound up within like 2 days. I brushed my teeth like maybe 4 or 5 times, and I'm saying to myself, I could not remember it being this potent when I was younger. But I'm glad. I'm glad that I never got to be a habitual cigar smoker because. My God, I can imagine. I probably wouldn't have a mouth right now. It would probably be a cancerous mess, and I'd be
Oh
talking
yeah,
to you.
that's one of the reasons why I'm glad I smoke this stuff. Is it's not that addicting, and I don't inhale it into my lungs because you're not supposed to. So it's mostly the flavor in that.
Well, that's the same thing with cigars. It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same sort of tobacco too.
Yep, just about. There's very minimal difference.
I guess you must be used to the tobacco because I'm not used to it. So
Yeah.
I was tasting it. My God, I could not get that taste out of my mouth.
That and it depends what kind too, because there are some that are more potent than others. Like the ones that I would like to get before they did this stupid taxation nonsense is I go to various smoke shops for filters and things of that nature, and they'd actually have like a giant candy jar full of rejects, and they'd sell them for like $1 or $2. They're really cost effective. It was like Pirate something or other, or Smuggler's Choice, or some fancy Star Wars Floridian sounding name, and it was that they weren't that bad. It's just that they were just mega potent. Like they dumped it in some kind of bourbon. So yeah, you could taste that for days.
You can't do that in my state anymore.
What?
New York State figured that if you're selling individuals like that, because it's usually done as all cash transactions because of how small it is, they consider it a form of tax evasion. Like you can't sell.
What?
You can't sell. Yeah, you can't sell loose cigarettes anymore because most people selling the loose cigarettes, they're only claiming the taxes they spent on the pack. They're not claiming that they're selling each cigarette for. Now I think it's up to $2 a cigarette. So selling from a $10 or $15 pack, you're selling the cigarettes now for like $2 a piece. Well, you just made $40, and you didn't claim that as taxable income. So if you sell a whole carton, that's $400.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel had a huge crackdown on that when he was mayor because he was going after any form of ridiculous fiscal crime he could get his hands on. And
they want that money.
Classically was one of the things like several Chicago mayors, probably even the current one we have right now, cracked down on, which is why people at concerts, instead of like paying people, like they go, hey, anyone got a smoke? Yeah, I'll give it to you for $1. They just go, here, just take one. Everyone stopped exchanging money for them. And a few people, I think, got picked up under false pretenses. Thought, oh, you're selling cigarettes. Like, no, this guy gave me $20 to go over there and go get him a pack of smokes. I have to get these to him. This is his change. I'm not trying to sell them.
Yeah.
A couple people got scooped up on that. Just as these things happen. They call cops over to random venues every now and again just for the most ridiculous of things. Usually it's because somebody doesn't know the difference between a North Sider and a South Sider. So for a North Sider, they'll go ahead and put mustard on his dog and sell it to him, and then that guy will like start a fist fight with him. And then for the South Sider, they'll put ketchup on the dog, and then same thing, fist fight starts. A lot of people from the burbs can't figure that out. They put the ketchup on the wrong dog, put the mustard on the wrong dog, or they do what they do for the stadium dogs, and they put both on there and try and mix it together so no one can tell, so they don't get punched, and get punched anyways.
That's amazing to me that there's actually like a division in your city where on one side of the city they only use mustard and on the other side they only use ketchup, and likewise both condiments are banned depending on which side of the city you're in. Right? The way it works in New York, we all put mustard on the dog, and if you put ketchup on it, there's something wrong with you. That's basically how we don't actually get physically violent over it. We'll just look at the person eating it with ketchup like, you got something wrong with you, man. That's it. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is when they come to New York, when you're in my part of the state, which is if you're in the 5 boroughs of Long Island, we only put ketchup on our hamburgers. So when you go to a McDonald's or a Burger King down here, there's no mustard. But likewise, when we leave here and we go even upstate New York or Jersey, Connecticut, and they put mustard on the burgers, I remember the first time I went to upstate New York because I don't leave the state that often, and I went to a McDonald's, and I went up to him. I'm like, "This something tastes wrong," and the guy, the manager who was talking to me, he's like, "You're from downstate, aren't you?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "We put mustard on our hamburgers up here." I go, "Really?" He said, "Yes, the same as like 99% of the country." He said, "I'm just letting you know." He said, "Because I've been down there before." The New York City metropolitan area is one of the only parts of the country that does not put mustard on their burgers commercially. I go, "You're kidding me." He said, "No, I'm just telling you." He said, "If you go into other states," he said, "if you leave here, you go to Ohio, you go to Pennsylvania, you go to Massachusetts." He said, "You go anywhere, they put mustard on the burgers." I go, "You're kidding me."
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm being dead serious." That's something down here. We literally, it's mustard on hot dogs, ketchup on hamburgers, and that's it. To do the inverse makes you strange.
Well, I mean, I can sympathize with that to a degree, man.
Yeah. It's just one of the little cultural nuances we have here. Like, yeah. It's one of those things, like my brother, may he rest in peace, he used to put ketchup on his hot dogs. And I used to look at him, I'm like, "You're a fucking weirdo." And he's looking at me.
I remember, what was it? He went to the Bevics or something when the place used to exist, and he was like, "I want ketchup," and like the entire staff nearly attacked him.
My nephew, because they wouldn't let him have it. My nephew, they wouldn't let him have it. So he left. He came back. He ordered the hot dog and then proceeded to produce ketchup packets. That I think he went down the block to like a McDonald's or Wendy's or something.
Yeah.
And he told them that he went through the drive-thru earlier and he did not get his ketchup packets because could he have them? So they gave him his ketchup pack. Yeah, and he went to the hot dog place and proceeded to put the ketchup on, and they seen him doing it. And I believe they wound up actually like physically removing him because of the shit that he was saying to them. I mean, unleashed on them about. He told them that your city. He said, you're telling them your city is gay. Screw this city. He said it's a knockoff version of New York. He said, "I've been to Boston and I find Boston more interesting than this city." He said, "And Boston sucks." So yeah, so they physically drank his drink out and threw him out. And by the time he came home, he proceeded to tell us how he hated Chicago. And I told his cousin, and his cousin who lives out there, like he moved out there from here, he happened to come back with him because the thing was Peanut, shush! The thing was he was going to go out there to visit his cousin because the cousin had to come back here for something anyway. And so the cousin came back with him, and I go, "What happened?" He said, "You want to know what happened?" He goes like this. He's like, "He's an asshole." He's like, every single person he saw, he had to mouth off to. He said he mouthed off. He said he mouthed off to the cops. He mouthed off to the people in the stores. He said mouthed off to the people in the bars. He said I was trying to talk to these girls, and he mouthed off to them. He said that's all he did on his mouth the whole time he was in Chicago. He said, "You know, it's a city where people are known for getting shot." He said, "I'm surprised he's still alive." He said, "Because I'm telling you right now, if I had a piece on me, I was tempted to shoot him."
That's actually happened.
Yeah,
that has happened to a few people actually.
I used to tell him all
constantly about people just come over and I go, "Fuck you," and well, "Fuck you," and well, "You know what? No, fuck you." No good shit.
I used to tell my nephew all the time, "You will talk yourself into a pair of handcuffs." I'm just letting you know that. And he goes, "What do you mean?" And his brother said to him, he's like, "It's because you're an asshole."
Crap, your camera froze.
Oh Lord! All right, hold on. I have to.
Hey, at least the audio's still working. Oh, there we go. It corrected a little
Wrong
bit.
button. Yeah, there we are.
God. Oh, so speaking of Shirakistan,
What I was about to say, because there it goes. My battery.
Your battery's going?
Yeah, you gotta give me 1 second. My battery is dead. I gotta go on to. I gotta plug it in, so the camera has to go off while this thing charges.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I actually can watch.
Oh God!
Because I have the camera and I have the light on, it actually drains it to where there is absolutely no energy. I watched it as I'm talking to you. I'm watching it drop 1% every minute. So it went from we've been on 50 minutes. I've watched it drop over 60% the whole time we've been talking.
This is why I got one of the ones that doesn't have a light on it, and it was just one of the bare bones cheap freaking ones they had at Walmart, and they had like a basic protection program with it. I did the same thing for this gimbal that we used when we went to the first IURC meeting. I kind of busted the clip on the back of this, but it's not a big deal. I can go get it replaced if I need to. You know, that was the only Bluetooth anything that's cooperated with me, and that's only because it was designed for a cell phone. I've had like horrible luck with the Bluetooth crap for computers. It just doesn't want to work. Oh God! So speaking of Shirakistan, I'm going to get into this one from Timmy. So all credit to this one goes to Tim Pool. So apparently, our esteemed sub 10% mayor, who's very illustrious and some say has a very likeness of Idi Amin of Uganda, has decided that despite the budget falls and despite the fact that we oh God, he dropped out. All right, that's fine. Technology trouble, it happens. But despite not having a budget, as always, he's going to try and get reparations to the people of Chicago who are descendants of slaves, which I kind of find interesting because as much as he goes on about the Confederacy and the Civil War and the possible second Civil War ongoing or coming or what have you, Illinois was not part of the Confederacy. Indiana was not part of the Confederacy. Wisconsin was not part of the Confederacy. Not even like Iowa and Ohio and Idaho, I think, were part of the Confederacy. So I thought we took in people who were slaves in the Confederate territories through the Underground Railroad so that they would actually be free. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. So while the editor is trying to go ahead and get his text situated, which is why I go with everything that's wired, I'll show that real quick. Let's see here. Where is it on here? There we go. All credit goes to Tim Pool. Come on, Timmy. Load, damn it.
Chicago is cooked. You know, I know, because the mayor is pushing reparations amid a $1 billion budget gap. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The city of Chicago, my hometown, is facing a major budget shortfall. But rest assured, despite the fact they don't have money to run services, they can give money to black people for reparations. Now, listen. This argument of reparations has been a lie utilized by Democrats for a millennia. Though, to be fair, they actually have started paying it out. The problem, how do you determine whether or not someone is the ancestor, the descendant, or had an ancestor who was a slave? And then the problem is the exponential increase in descendants of slaves. So let's go back to, 1865, 1866. We get the ratification of the 14th Amendment, and they offer up to former slaves 40 acres and a mule. That's what we're going to do, right? Okay, well, the issue now is we have 330 million people in this country. And if one guy was entitled to 40 acres and a mule, he had 3 kids, and they each had 3 kids, and they each had, you get the point. It's an exponential increase in all who are deserving 40 acres and a mule. That being said, despite the fact that Democrats are nuts and are burning down everything and Chicago is losing the Bears, and you are going to give reparations before you give the Bears a stadium? Heavens me, man. Heavens me. What I can say is I actually am for reparations. I am. I was arguing with this lefty guy. And I said, here's my pitch. The Bureau of Land Management owns like 40% of Western United States, some ridiculous number. I said, I know. I say we take it off from the federal government, give it to black people. Seriously, just, are you a descendant of a slave? Congratulations. We got a whole lot of land throughout Wyoming and Colorado and, Idaho and all this stuff controlled by the Federal Bureau of Land Management, which is funny, by the way, because it's BLM. And I said this, I don't care for giving people resources based on race. I don't think that's a good thing. You may actually find with reparations, there's some white people that get this because they have an ancestor down the line who was a slave, like they might be a small percentage black. And you're going to have black people who don't get it because they're going to think they deserve it, then find out it was their great-great-grandparents who came here on a boat, not as slaves, but as merchants or something. So I don't think the race thing works. However, I will say this. I'll split the baby on this one. If it strips land from the federal government and puts it in the private market, I think that's a lot better. Then you can have private trade among people. And so we're not going to be able to just take the BLM federal land. This was the whole Bundy issue, right? The Bundy Ranch, where they were like, this is our land now. And they're like, we've cattle grazed here for hundreds of years. So my attitude is, I got an idea. Okay? We'll avoid those kind of land claims. The Bundy Ranch guys, graze your cattle where you graze your cattle. But there's a lot of empty land not being used, controlled by the federal government. My argument was, break it up, 40 acres and a mule. There you go. Congratulations. Have fun. I don't see what's wrong with that. And I got to imagine, I think most conservatives would appreciate it. Think about this. You got people living in poverty in Atlanta, right? Black people. Okay, let's give them an opportunity to set up their own land and own land. And they can sell it if they want, and it goes in the private market. I think that's a good thing. I would prefer it if it was not race-based. But again, taken from the federal government, putting it in the private market, I'm okay with the economic stimulation. It's a half measure, not perfect, but hey. Here's a story from Legal Insurrection. Chicago mayor pushes reparations amid $1 billion budget gap. The community engagement process will gather input from Chicagoans across the city to better understand Black Chicagoans. Oh, that's fantastic, right? The new Repair Chicago initiative is built around bus tours, town halls, panel discussions, and hearings to gather testimony to inform a larger reparations plan. The effort expands on a process that began with the creation of Reparations Task Force in 2024. Quote, your experience is evidence, and we've placed it at the center of our work. By engaging directly with residents, we are grounding this work in the voices and lived realities of the people it is meant to serve. The administration has not outlined the cost of any eventual reparations program or how it would be funded. That omission comes as the city continues to manage structural financial pressure stemming from existing debt and limited flexibility. My friends, I'm just going to say it like this. You get a city with a million white dudes. Okay, you got a million white guys, and they all work. They pay taxes. The taxes go to make great things like the Bears. Then your population continues to grow, and eventually you have a disproportionate racial demographics. Sooner or later, you end up with a larger black population than a white population. And it's not so much that black people are like they're having more kids. I mean, when more immigrants come in, white people are no longer a dominant race-based voting bloc or ethnic voting bloc. You will get a new ethnic voting bloc. And they're going to vote for your stuff. That's just obvious. I mean, listen, it is human nature. If I don't know you, I don't owe you. Like, this is how humans have always engaged. There are great civilizations that thought, we'll just be farmers. And then barbarian hordes ran through, trampled everything, stole their stuff. That's the way it's going to be. So if you are in Chicago and you are part of the black community, I tell you, racism is pervasive. Absolutely pervasive. So if you go to them and say, vote for me and I'll take all of their stuff and give it to you, it's like, let's roll, baby. We're in charge now. So all these hoity-toity white people are like, I think racism is bad. Well, I agree. I think racism is bad too. But that doesn't mean you vote for a guy who's going to strip resources away from people based on race and give it to other people based on race. But of course, Chicago, now ruled by Democrats for 100 years, this is what you get. Honor killings, gang violence, all of these things. And it's funny because people go, Tim, honor killings is when a Muslim kills a family member for dishonoring them. Right. And I'm talking about killings based on honor in Chicago, which is when you dishonor someone, so they kill you. Dishonor killings, call it that. Lived it, seen it. You know, people in Chicago have been tolerating so much of this for so long. It is insane to me that they would allow for a mayor like this. But hey, I don't think things are going to change. Here you go. New legislation filed in Illinois includes billionaire wealth tax. They're trying to make it this game. That's the game they're trying to make it, my friends. They can't pay for any of the problems. They can't pay to solve any of it. They don't want to create a system in which hardworking people generate economic stimulus, which can be used to improve things. They say, just strip them of their resources. If this was really about improving the city and making everyone's lives better, it's actually simple. You want new economic activity. You want to generate as much sales, new businesses as possible. Then you will make a lot in taxes. You can then spend those taxes on government programs, fixing the roads, or reparations, I guess, if you want. Instead, what they do is they depress economic activity, crime increases, they release people from the jails. Mayor Johnson literally said, we can't incarcerate our way out of this one. All right. So you're going to have roving gangbangers and criminals in Chicago. Things will get worse. Wealth will leave. Then they'll try and tax the wealthy, who will leave even more. They'll argue they're not going to leave. Then they'll say, we need more people. We need a bigger tax base. So they'll say, open the city up to illegal immigrants. Then they will need money to pay the illegal immigrants. And my favorite bit from 2020, when all the it was like 21 or 22, with the mass migration coming in, there were black people in Chicago saying, you are giving billions to non-citizens before you paid us reparations? They were pissed.
Oh, love it. Okay, you get it working, man?
Yeah, no, it just it died on me. As I was plugging it in, it drained it even faster when I shut everything off. Yeah, no, it's
this is why I got a wired camera, dude.
No, mine is wired.
Now, why is it dying? You plug it into the computer and then it works, yeah?
Yeah, when I plugged it into the computer along with the light, I plugged in the light, and it's the ring light. It drains my battery.
Jesus.
It goes down a percentage point every 90 seconds.
Oh, for the love of God. We'll have to get you a stationary light or something. I don't know. Maybe one of them lamps or something.
It is. It's just I had it plugged into the computer. So.
Isn't there one that it'll plug into the wall?
I'd have to get the USB that's long enough, and I'd have to get the adapter.
Oh.
No, what this is, and I actually just found it recently. I didn't think to grab it, though, today. I have the adapter because the power pack for my computer is 3-prong, and I only have a 2-prong outlet. Oh,
then you get an adapter. I've got tons of them lying around in the studio here. I've got like 8.
Yeah, I have one too. It's just I had no idea where she put it, and I was looking for something else and found my adapter, and I was like, "Oh, goody! Here's my adapter."
Okay.
Yeah.
Just put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it. Yeah. No, that's. No, I feel you with 200-year-old houses and stuff.
Yeah, well, my house isn't even that old. My house.
You don't have the GF. What do they call those? The GFCI outlets or something?
No. This house, I believe, was built in the 50s.
Okay. Mine was built just before the First World War.
No, because what had happened was everyone came back from World War II and they needed houses.
Yeah.
So there wasn't enough room in Brooklyn and Queens for them to stay. So people started looking. So you could actually drive around different neighborhoods on Long Island, and it's really wild because you'll see all these houses like my house, and then you'll see a large house, and then you realize, oh, this used to be a farm, and that was the farmhouse, and then you'll see another house across the street, and you realize that was the barn.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that in rural Illinois, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That's part of the reason that the running joke in the boroughs, they used to call Long Island cow country because this was all dairy farms back.
I thought that was just an insult, just like how we call the Cubs fans or the Packers fudge packers.
No, this was called cow country because there was literally nothing but dairy farms on the island, and the ironic part is. Now, a lot of people don't know this. New York State is actually the number one dairy producing state per capita in the country. We actually produce 2 to 3 more times more milk per capita than Wisconsin.
I wouldn't have
But
thought.
yeah, well, that's what I was getting at is because where I live has become so urban in the past 60 years. I didn't see a cow until I was 20 in college upstate.
I still find that hilarious as hell. It took you that long to see a cow.
Yeah, I not in real life. I mean, I seen them on the TV and everything and in movies, but I was upstate and I remember because we're driving past. I'm like, oh wow, cows, and they're looking at me. I'm like, I've never seen a cow in person before, and they both look at each other and they're like, Scooby, you fucking with us? I'm like, no. They're like, how could you have never seen a cow before? I said, we don't have farms down by me. They're like, wait, what do you mean you don't have farms? I go, well, you'll go to a place, where they'll have like a novelty. It'll be like a little mini farm where they grow like a specific thing. Like, they'll grow pumpkins for the kids to go pumpkin picking. And they have hay rides and that sort of thing. They're like, well, how big is the farm? And I tell them, I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe 5-10 acres. And they're like, that's a farm down there. I go, yeah, maybe we have like maybe 2 or 3. They're like, you only have 2 or 3 farms. I go, yeah. They're like, okay, sit back and watch because you're going to watch as we go past right now like a few hundred farms. And I was blown away by all the farms upstate. I was like, wow, there's so many farms. And they're looking at each other like, we just can't believe you've never seen farmland before. I'm like, no. I live like right outside of New York City. I've never experienced this before. And it was mind-blowing to them until they came down here. And they had the same impression that you had when you came here, which was they said to me, they're like, when does it end? I go, what? They're like, civilization. They said, when does it get rural? I'm like, it doesn't. Yeah, it's like a never-ending sea of houses. It's just endless and endless and endless, and that's
like
just
runner, dude.
Yeah, that we're used to that here, And I've talked to people from Los Angeles, and it's even worse over there.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I hope to God that when they have the next DNC, it's not in LA because oh my God, that's going to be terrible. I mean, the one they had here in Chicago that we got to be a part of, that wasn't so bad. Seeing VTOLs fly was actually really cool until I realized, oh, there was bomb threats at every hotel around us. Really? Couldn't have just put on the loudspeaker and like, everyone, take shelter in McCormick Place. Like, no? Kidding me?
I am very interested in seeing Los Angeles. I really am. I just the thought.
I think it's going to be like that Cyberpunk video game I play. You kidding me, man? Bro,
that's why I want to see
it. Going to LA.
Just a never-ending city and 8-lane freeways that the traffic doesn't move. I'm very interested in seeing that, and it's just. I mean, look, I'll be real. I've been here my entire life. I've gone up and down the coast. I want to check out the Midwest eventually, and I do want to check out the Gulf and the West Coast. This isn't me saying anything bad about people in corn country in the interior, but I don't need to see a fucking endless seas of corn and wheat. That's awesome, good for you, but I've no interest in going to Nebraska.
Yeah, no, there's only one relatively fancy, as long as it hasn't burnt down, bar that my father and I used to go out to, way out in like Livingston County, but I'll have to have a company lawyer and a few things on standby just because the local police department there have like a redneck Hatfield versus McCoy's blood feud with my family and I. It's fucking insane.
It's funny. I just to put a point on this to show you how ignorant I am as a New Yorker. There was an adult film star years ago, and I happened to catch an interview that she was giving, and very beautiful black woman. And they asked her where she was from, and I forget the name of the city, town, whatever, but she was from Nebraska. And I was telling this to a few black friends of mine, and they're like, okay, what's your point? I said, I didn't know there were black people in Nebraska. And they look at me like, they look at me like, are you putting me on? I said, no, I didn't know there were black people in Nebraska. I said, who the fuck lives in Nebraska? I said, I just figured it was like a couple of fat white guys with overalls that drove, like Camaros on the weekend. I did not expect there to be black people there. And they started rolling with laughter. Like when my wife and I went down to Miami Beach, she kept sending me back to the hotel room to get shit. So I'm walking across the beach, and I see all these cute black chicks. They were a little bit on the chubby side, wearing small bikinis. So, I kind of caught my eye. So they asked me if I would take a group picture of them. So I took a picture of them, and I started talking to them, and they heard my accent. And the first thing, and I don't know why everyone does this, they thought New Jersey. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm from New York. And they're like, oh. And so I say to them, where are you from? And they go,
New Jersey of all places. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, New Jersey. That's where they thought I was from. And I go, where are you from? And they're like, we're from Milwaukee. I said, really? Milwaukee? They said, yeah, why? What's the matter with Milwaukee? I said, well, no offense. I said, I didn't know there were black folks in Milwaukee. I said, I hear Milwaukee. I immediately think of all these fat white people in overalls with the cheese hats on. And they started laughing hysterically when I said that. They said, no, there's a large black community in Milwaukee. I said, oh, I never knew that. I said, every time they show it, it's usually, there's this like white couple, and between the two of them, they weigh probably close to 800 pounds. He's got on overalls. She's wearing a dress that's way too small, and he's got a gigantic wedge of cheese on top of his head. So one girl, I didn't know black people could turn red. Her cheeks were turning red. She was laughing so hard. She was doubled over with laughter.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
And they told me, they said, that was the best thing we've heard in a while. You made our vacation that much better. Thank you. I said, yeah, no problem. Like, I wasn't trying to be like a racist to them or anything. It blew my mind. Because, we're used to the fact, like, Italian Americans, Sicilian Americans, once you get out of the Northeast, the East Coast in general, once you move into the we don't exist. We are nowhere in the country. There's a handful of us over in like California, but otherwise we are from Boston down to about maybe DC. There'll be like that's where the largest concentration of us is. And then again,
there's a small amount in Chicago, but they're not very prominent. Like there's not much of a like Sicilian American society. Like there's for the Polish, they literally have the I'm probably going to butcher the shit out of this. The Sioski Foundation.
Yeah.
Is what they call it. And that's like for people who are like Polish American. They have like a giant cultural foundation and all that for them. I was a member for about 2 or 3 years because I wrote an essay about them being conquered by the Germans.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, it was neat. It was good. I didn't win the scholarship, but I mean, they were still like, actually, it was pretty decent,
Yeah. There's handfuls of communities here and there, but they said for the most part, the largest concentration is within 400 miles of New York City proper. So that's why if you go to Pennsylvania, you go to New York, you go to New Jersey, we're at the woodwork. There's tons of us, but once you get down to like Delaware, the Carolinas, there's another swath of us in like Maryland and Virginia because of DC, but otherwise, we don't exist in other parts of the country really. Again, there's cities like you said in the Midwest. They'll be in Chicago, they'll be in Detroit, things of that nature. But otherwise, no, we don't exist. So, conversely, that's part of the reason where I literally thought that the entire country, especially once you get north of the Mason-Dixon line, I just assumed it was all white folks. Aside from, again, like the populated cities, I just assumed it was all white people. And down south, especially in parts of the Bible Belt, you had large concentrations of black people, but that was it. Hold on 1 second. My wife is calling me.
That's a good. Go ahead and take your time. I guess I'll finish up on the reparations bit because that was just too funny. I had to show it. because much like the editor's saying, as far as diasporas being strewn about and having heavy concentrations, we did have a lot of people that came through the Underground Railroad. I'm very curious as to see how, in God's name, the mayor is going to pull this one off. See, that's how I didn't know it was $1 billion. God, I thought it was a couple million, because I remember when Rom and Lori were in, it was, oh God, it was, the population was about 3 million and falling, and the debt was basically about $1 per citizen was what the debt of the city of Chicago was. And now we're reaching $8 billion under Brandon Johnson. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to try and do like what the mayor, or no, not the mayor, dear God, the Governor Newsom did in California, where he did a wealth tax to try and go after people's unrealized gains. And then say, all right, from an unrealized gains tax, we're going to go ahead and pay reparations to people in the city of Chicago. Holy crap. That's going to be a whole lot of not fun.
Well, you have to remember Brandon Johnson's a raving idiot.
Oh, he's a complete moron. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody and their mother makes fun of him. Even my own mother makes fun of him. Yeah, the illustrious sub 10% Idi Amin lookalike Mayor Brandon Idi Amin Johnson, Lord of all the dead bodies in Lake Michigan. That's his current running title.
You know what blows my mind is how.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk about.
What blows my mind. No, that's okay. I was going to say that what blows my mind is how a man with such a large head is so stupid.
Yeah. We did send him a letter about 4 months ago, and he has not responded back. I don't think we're going to get a response from him anytime soon. I don't know. I don't know if it would be possible.
I don't expect him to respond.
I didn't expect him to respond. I mean, I put it for my personal house address because we've been trying to get the new P.O. box, and that was a lot of trouble just because every weekend I kept having things. So, I went, okay, well, I know I'm always going to live here, so he can go ahead and send it here. It'll be just fine. It's right next door. Nothing. Sent it to his office over the Capitol building in LaSalle and everything. I didn't even get so much as a letter back from everyone saying, oh, hey, don't forward it here, forward it to somewhere else. Just nothing. Someone signed for it, someone received it, and he has not responded to it about 4 months. So we're probably not going to hear from him at all.
Yeah, that's a given. Again, this is part of the reason I am not a big fan of government in general, because they don't do shit. Again, this is why, I try to tell people all the time. They're like, "How can you be a Trump supporter?" And I'm like, "Well, he does shit."
Yeah,
that's the thing. He's actually doing things.
Yeah,
that's why I voted for the man. He does things.
Yep, yeah. He gets things done. As controversial as he can be, no, things are actually accomplished. Things actually get done. A lot of people don't like the things he say, but. Oh, well, the guy's an asshole. I'm an asshole. You're an asshole. We're all assholes. It's like the thing from Spaceballs that Dr. Disaster has. How many assholes we got on the ship? And everyone stands up and goes, yo!
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Well, I can't believe I talk to people, and people I've known for years, and they don't like him. Oh, okay, well, why don't you like him? Well, because of the way he talks. And I look at them, I go, oh, where did you grow up? What do you mean? I've been here my whole life. I said, okay, this is how we all talk. What the fuck is the matter with you?
Precisely. I was critical of him at first when he was talking, because I was like, no, he has to try and get the liberals on his side. And then I gradually realized liberals are actually not some type of autistic, educated people that want efficiency. No, they're just fucking insane. And then I was like, all right, well, screw the liberals. Yeah, just talk like a plumber. He literally talks like everyone that came out of the Ford plant in Hegewisch.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I watched the video about a month or two ago.
Yeah.
The woman, she identified herself as being, she was a progressive liberal. And I'm reading the comments section. And she said, we have to make people understand these people who are out there talking, they're not progressive liberals. they're leftists. They're insane.
Yeah.
And I read one of the top comments, and the guy goes like this. He's like, I've been a progressive liberal since the 80s. I was a progressive liberal through the 90s and into the 2000s. He said, I'm still a progressive liberal. He said, these left-wing people are utterly fucking crazy. And every comment I'm reading, it says the same thing. They're all identifying as progressive liberal, and they said, I don't understand these young people. They claim to be progressive liberal. We were never communists. What the hell is the matter with all these people? We were never socialists. We were never Marxist. It's the same thing over and over. And I've said this before. I'm an old school progressive liberal, always have been, the same way as Teddy Roosevelt. You know, we invented that shit here.
Yeah, Balloon Party and all that.
Yeah, I myself am not. A conservative by me is. I mean, the definition of what is a conservative now. Conservative nowadays is basically a progressive liberal from like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. It's pretty much the same. And what a progressive liberal is now is a radical Marxist.
Yeah.
It has shifted that much over, where a lot of people don't understand. Like when they say, "Well, I identify as a conservative," I don't care what you do in bed. You know, is what you do in your own house is not my business. And I look at them and I'm like, "Well, congratulations, you're a progressive liberal." So that is not a conservative talking point. Conservative talking points, they were specifically against homosexuality because it was against what was in the Bible. They were against a lot of things because of moral degeneration and the degradation of society. That's what it meant to be conservative. It was the conservation of the way of life that we have, and this country,
cultural and societal preservation. Yeah,
exactly. And the cultural and societal norms that were in place were very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yep.
Very straight heteronorm. Very, very Christian, Judeo-Christian sphere of influence and thought. Was very much influenced by the King James Bible, and it was basically WASP, and it was very much BP, which was white Anglo-Saxon Protestant and black Protestant. These people have. Part of the reason I've always said that they don't get along is because if you can get a black person on the phone and the inflection isn't there, that you can't pick up on what their orientation is and whether you're going to think that they're a white person. That's how it is with a lot of black and white people. Is they have very similar belief systems, which amazes me that they don't get along because. Specifically, like where I work now, it's an all-black staff. One of these guys, I don't think he's a Trump supporter, but Jesus, this guy is conservative, like hardcore conservative.
A lot of black families are like that. I get a lot of that over in Gary, to where, as far as how they run their family, they're very conservative because no black father basically wants a rainbow child because they're like, no. We want the family lineage to go on. Like there's a lot of holdouts in Gary that rather natives or they've fled from Chicago to come to here because of just how affordable everything is, and they're wanting to continue to pass on their degraded property in the hopes that the 2, 3, 4 generations they can make it like a rising phoenix. If you have a homosexual, then it's like, oh, there's a likelihood that they're not going to procreate. Oh no, the family plan goes astray. It's like Chinese dynasties. It's just that politically they're usually very progressive or very Democrat because, well, it's the blue sphere of influence, and they've pretty much captured most of their desires. So,
the other thing that amazes me is the amount of people I've seen sleeved with tattoos, pierced all over the place. They'll have on jewelry. They'll have in, at least if not a full gold grills, they'll have in like frames on their teeth. So they have like gold teeth or, jewels in the teeth or whatever. And they'll have like either a mohawk or they'll have dreads or braids, and they're conservative. That's the thing that really blows my mind is how many people that you would have seen crowd surfing at a concert years ago or in a mosh pit have very family orientated values. And
that's a new cultural thing that's come out. When the GOP jamborees were going on in Illinois, they constantly had rap artists. They had Mr. Nice Guy. They had Bryson Gray, who's gotten massive nationwide popularity, and other MAGA rappers that they dress like they came out of your neck of the woods, out in like Brooklyn's or Queens or Nassau. They got all the chains and everything, but it's all like Catholic or Christ centered, and they're rapping about not being a felon, not believing the government, and reading a Bible and doing the laundry. There's at least two of them, or I may have misheard it because I was drinking a little, or a few bit. But I swear I'm fairly certain. I'll have to play back the audio from the last GOP jamboree we went to, where we seen Topher. I think him or Mr. Nice Guy were actually rapping about doing the fucking chores in the house. I think that's what they're rapping about, and that blew my mind. Where it's like you're rapping about being a civilized human being. Wow, I'm not used to that at all. That was wild. As I'm used to the stuff in Chicago, to where they're rapping about, well, if anyone talks shit about you, just blow his kneecaps out, or go have sex with his mother, or go stab his father. Things like that where they usually rap about. And then they wind up being like CPD plants for some special snitching program to try and take down some type of gang or something by being propped up as an artificial ethnic rapper, some ridiculous program they had. It was like 21 Jump Street, but real life with like rappers and that. Wild stuff. Ooh. Oh, all right. Hell, speaking of young kids and rapping, you want to go over the Teen Takeover? Oh, God, lost him again. Jesus. I'm glad this is the pilot episode, so I know that I'm going to have to send him a copy of, or I'll have to go to Wally World and we'll give him the same camera I got, because it's not giving me any difficulty, but good Lord, he's got a battery power, everything. You believe this? It's time to go and just get a cell phone and get everything wired. Oh, boy. Anyways. Aside from being rap plants, one of the other crazier things a lot of these kids have been doing lately is they've been organizing to have massive takeovers or hanging out episodes to where they're just like, yeah, we're going to have 8, 10, 12, 15 of us just get together over at a mall or over at like an intersection downtown. So a lot of this, God, I think it was last weekend before Easter, got relatively nuts to where everyone got on their Snapchat, everyone got on their Facebook, everyone got, well, let's be honest, none of the youngsters use Facebook. They go on Facebook to tell mom and dad, hey, I'm not getting arrested. And they go on Instagram and they take photobomb pictures of Buckingham Fountain. And then CPD swarms in and go, all right, asshole, you're under arrest. Oh, boy. So let's see here. Who has that video? Let me see here real quick. Let's see here. I think it was... There we go. Oh! Editor's back. There you go.
Yeah. The energy power cord.
Yeah, power cord got yoinked?
No. It there was actually a short in the wire I was using. So it caused you, I don't know how it did it, you started roboting, and then StreamYard crashed. So I changed power cords, and everything seems to be fine now. But no, what you were saying, though, about like the rappers and everything, the newest thing is now, the newest thing is obviously Nicki Minaj. She came out as she's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And also, you're young. I don't know if you remember from the '90s the R&B group TLC.
Nope.
All right. One of the members of TLC came out as she's a Trump supporter,
Okay.
and out of all people, I couldn't believe it. He was on a couple of Nickelodeon movies when he was younger, and he was married to Mariah Carey, the actor Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, who I thought was left wing as hell because of his podcast he used to do, turns out Nick Cannon is a Trump supporter. So
I don't.
all of these black Trump supporters just all basically they've been coming out of the woodwork the past 2 weeks or so. And it's great because all these people on the left, they're losing their shit. Like people they're demanding like refunds for concert tickets they bought. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it like what it really is a cult mentality. And it boggles my mind because I was watching some guy the other day and he put it perfectly. He said, this is plantation politics.
Yeah,
He said, because you have this, this groupthink mentality, and it boggles my mind because
current thing, bro. You got to be with the current thing. And I sent you the next topic I wanted to cover because I have to really take a leak. It says about the takeovers that I was going to get into, but you came back, so wanted you to finish up. But I really have to use the can. But you should know how to screen share. If not, I'll get it situated depending on your technical difficulties when I get back. I just got to really use the can.
All right, no, do your thing. Okay, let me see. Get this up and running.
Hey, don't let that skeleton touch anything, or I'll shoot him.
Gotcha. All right, let's see if I can get this to work. All right, folks, just bear with me while I'm trying to get this to actually work. Oh, this ought to be good. It's giving me a hard time. Let's just hope it doesn't crash. It looks like it's going to do that, though. Oh, Lord. Joy, it looks like it's going to crash, which means I'm going to actually get locked out of the stream. So we're going to have dead air. Technology, it's so much fun.
Oh. All right. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. You fell out again? Oh, for love of God. Oh, Jesus, how long did you fall out for?
As soon as I tried to basically get Discord to open to see what you sent me.
Are you using your regular computer or using the work computer?
I am using the regular one. The work computer is right now.
Next time you do this, just use the work computer. It'll save you time. Your regular computer, I would like to shoot the guy that sold it to you. Okay, anyways, now that I'm done with that. All right, so I'll go ahead and show the article. Don't feel bad. All right, where the heck is it? Yeah, here it is, here. Okay, Chicago Tribune. All right. Year's first ever teen takeover in downtown Chicago. Scenes eight arrests, and oh my God, they're actually discussing a curfew. Wow, that's surprising. Curfew? Yeah, good luck. Oh, and they actually have a robot that'll tell you about it. I don't know. You want me to read it or you want me to let the robot read it? Okay, he's probably got more technical difficulties. All right. Chicago's curfew rules still very much a matter of political debate in the city. 8 young people arrested last Wednesday and Wednesday in the middle of the week? Wow, all right. Damn, I wouldn't have expected that. I figured they would have done this on a weekend. Holy crap. Issued after another chaotic teen takeover popped up downtown the first of this year. Videos posted to social media showed large groups of young people running on sidewalks and streets in the Loop, starting around 9:30 p.m. Police said 17s ranging in age from 13 to 16 were charged with one misdemeanor of reckless conduct. That's a first I've ever heard of. Reckless conduct. Who in this city doesn't go about doing reckless conduct? I do that every time I cross the street. 16-year-old boy was charged with 3 felony counts of aggravated assault of a peace officer. Only in Chicago. One misdemeanor count of reckless conduct. And 1 citation for riding a bicycle on a sidewalk. Wait, they can give you a citation for riding a bicycle on a sidewalk? Why isn't half the north side of Chicago under arrest for that? Are you kidding me? It was immediately clear whether anyone was hurt. The Chicago Police Department spokesperson said, "We're still gathering information." Yeah, I'm sure you are, buddy. You gather your underwear together in response to questions about potential injuries. Oh, good Lord. This sounds like the last time we had, Jesus, that giant Woodstock-like concert. Was it immediately clear whether... Oh, God, all right. I cannot stop laughing. But okay. Wednesday night gathering prompted city council backers of expanded police curfew powers to once again call for new laws, even as Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration argued current laws are sufficient. All right, this should be interesting. Hundreds of young adults have attended what are now commonly called teen takeovers. Over the past years in the city's downtown neighborhoods, the meetups organized on social media days in advance have led to several shootings downtown in recent years. Oh, gee, I wonder why. Maybe somebody smack talked somebody's mama in Obama. Maybe that might be why. Probably, like Timmy was talking about with the dishonor killings and shootings and shit of that nature. And that sounds like Sweet Home Shirakistan. 8 months earlier, in separate incidents, a 15-year-old boy sustained a grazed wound and a tourist was shot as she walked back to her hotel with her son in summer 2022. Oh, God. That reminds me of an old saying we have. Oh, God, from when I was a kid. Exactly that one, yeah. You come to Chicago for the pizza, you stay because you've been shot. And if it's tourist season, why can't we shoot them? Seriously, why can't we shoot them?
There you go.
I'm dying reading this article, man. This is hilarious. I'm sure that this was probably horrible, but this sounds just like kind of comically normal.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and finish this, but they're arresting people for riding bicycles on the sidewalk.
They do
They'd
that
have
here
to
too.
arrest. They'd have to arrest all of Boys Town and half the people that come from Evanston.
Yeah, it's that's a big thing here. If they catch you on the sidewalk, they run your name, they run your information, and if you've been stopped within I think within like 90 days for riding a bike on the sidewalk, the first time they fine you, I think it's the second time they just take your bike away. They throw it in the back of the cop car.
Dude, everyone on the north side of Chicago, if there isn't a bike lane, they're going on the sidewalk and then, excuse me, come on, and everyone will park.
Yeah, we have bike lanes here. That's a part of the big thing. I don't know if you've seen the footage. The other day, there was a shooting in Brooklyn. I felt horrible. The little girl got killed. She was only 7 months old in a stroller. And they opened fire into the crowd, and it was a bunch of families that had strollers.
I believe it.
Then they tried to escape. Two guys, they were on a moped, and they tried to escape down the wrong way.
Yeah.
And they got hit by an SUV because you're in Brooklyn. So people come flying down the streets like 80 miles an hour.
Oh, Lord.
And you see them, they go flying in the air. And one of them, his leg was completely shattered. And they tried to run away, but he wound up going to the hospital, and that's how they caught him. But yeah, that's
wait, he went to the hospital and they caught him? Are you kidding me?
That's how they caught him, because he was in the hospital with a shattered leg. And so they just looked. So the cops are like, okay, who got just got admitted? I think the guy was Hispanic. So they started looking for guys who met the description within, I think, a mile or two radius of where this happened, and they picked the guy up immediately. They called in. They're like, yeah, we got somebody matching the description. That's how they picked him up usually. But yeah, I gotta see if I can find the video footage. You got to see this. It's wild. The guys just go sailing up and through the air, and it's mind-boggling to me. Like, what were you? I don't know if they were citizens. I don't want to say they were illegals, because they must not have been local, because everyone knows, especially in Brooklyn, because of how much traffic there is, you do not go the wrong way down a one-way street. You're asking to get hit, and sure enough, you see the car hits him, and these two guys. When I say flying through the air, one guy I think the one who broke his leg had to go at least 3 stories in the air.
I believe it. I was trying to find a video. I had seen this before, to where we have a hospital to where everyone goes for their Cook County care. So it's Stroger's Hospital, if I remember correctly. And there was one guy who was a notorious repeat patient. And this guy basically played Chicago roulette. I can't find the video of it, but what he did is this guy was either just a regular dude or a gang member. And he went into Stroger's Hospital for a gunshot wound to his, if I remember correctly, it was his left foot. And then he went in, he was like kind of live streaming updates on it, and then he got out and he got his left foot patched up. And then he goes right outside across the street, and then a couple of his homies are like, oh, yeah, cool, yeah, he got patched up and this, that, and the other. He's like, yeah, and I'm going to get my other foot to match. Let's see how many times until I get it. So he literally, one guy literally hands him a .38 revolver. And then he goes, all right, here, yo, who's got around? A guy ruffles through his hoodie, stuff falls all over the place like some cartoon character. And he goes, okay, yeah, I got one. So then one guy hands the revolver, the other guy hands him around, he puts it in, and he spins it, and then he clicks about 4 times, and then blows a hole in his right foot, goes back into Stroger Hospital, comes out afterwards. Not arrested at all, whatsoever. And there was another guy, this was in Hegewisch, if I remember correctly. The guy was trying to get over state lines because he had robbed a bank. I don't remember if it was one of the ones they had off of Baltimore Avenue, or he'd robbed one further west into the city, and he was trying to get into Indiana. Basically, the cops had shot him as he was trying to get into a vehicle, and he actually had a shoulder wound. And somehow he went from Chicago into Indiana, back into Chicago to get into Stroger's Hospital, and he had that same wound in his shoulder, and they just didn't pick him up. Didn't pick him up whatsoever until eventually the papers hit, and people were asking, "Hey, that guy that just so happened to have a 9mm in his left shoulder, was that maybe the guy you think?" By chance, ask him a couple questions when he's not high on painkillers. And the guy walked. He walked until I think he was. Did he do something else, or was that somebody else? I'm not sure. This happens so often. I have to actually think. We
got shit like that over here.
Yeah, but that's what I find funny about the team takeover. Is they're actually enforcing petty laws that every other instance in the city of Chicago, they would give no fucks. They would not arrest you for any of this crap.
Yeah.
Like, unless of course the one young man they spoke of who attacked a Chicago police officer. No, if you get into a fist fight with a Chicago police officer, you are getting arrested. The only exemption that may occur is in the off case that it is actually mutually agreed upon combat. And that's one thing where it's like, okay, you're gonna be let off the hook. But then the ultimate thing comes, okay, you're agreeing to fight a Chicago police officer hand to hand. He agrees. He's got to get out of uniform, and then he has to have a county sheriff from Cook County come and actually watch. So that that's the loophole with it. Outside of that, it's like, yeah, no, you're getting arrested. You can't let any random cop to mutually agreed upon combat and demand satisfaction.
We don't have mutually agreed upon combat here anymore, which really is annoying to me.
It's that does suck. I mean, it has resolved a couple problems with drunks, and it's been quite funny. If I can ever do a night patrol with a couple cops around Reggie's, I'll see if we can get us some B-rate footage of just drunk metalheads beating the crap out of each other with some Cook County sheriff just trying not to laugh. As like you've got Dimmu Borgir versus Sabaton, and they're just like poorly slugging it out until they both fall asleep drunk on the concrete. Oh,
it's funny. I got into a fight with somebody, and my father says, "Okay, go down the block and handle it." So we did, and the cops show up, and I've been about this size since I was in like junior high school. So I'm a big guy.
You've always been Urlacher sized.
Yeah, and this little cop, he was like Super Mario sized. They show up there, and he gets out, and the first thing he does, he whips out his nightstick, and he walks towards me, and he starts hitting me. And my father yells, "Yo!" When the cop turns around, he's like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And so the cop says, "Whatever." He said, "I'm fully aware of what he's doing." He said, "That's my son." He said, "The two of them had a problem. I sent them down the block to straighten it out. Who the hell do you think you are hitting him with that baton?" And so the cop, he looked completely bewildered. And that's part of the reason I've said it before. I don't hate the police, but I do not like the little bastards. You get that a lot. And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate that you get a lot of these guys and they go into the force just because they have some sort of fetish with hurting other human beings.
Oh yeah, stuff that regrettably happens.
And it makes it bad for the cops who are actually decent cops trying to do their job. This is one of those reasons. Oh
yeah, that's why we had the McDonald case.
Yeah,
because that was so insane. The one thing that I will give Mr. The now deceased, I think, McDonald credit for is he did what most people would have liked to have done in that area, just because it's either you get along with the PD or you don't go along with the PD. It really depends. And this guy got high on drugs and decided, you know what, I'm going to start slashing tires. Now, I could be wrong on that, but the last time I read from the Chicago Tribune or the Sun-Times or one of the other papers in our area, they reported that, yes, he was high as an expletive kite. And he decided he had had enough of their bullshit, and he was just going and slashing tires. And then the officer was like, "Hey, yo, you better not be coming near my vehicle, you son of a bitch." And it's like, I'm going to cut your tires. And all it took was the officer seeing him slinging the knife around, saying, "Well, I'm going to cut your tires." So he emptied the magazine into him, and then he went to reload because the guy was still moving. And he thought, "Oh, hell no, I'm not dealing with one of these Florida men. This has got to be a tourist." And it turned out, no, that's one of our locals who really didn't like your shenanigans and did what the whole rest of us wanted to do. And then that whole thing got blown out of proportion just because it was the age of Black Lives Matter. So, Yeah, that had to escalate into insanity, whereas normally it would have been a lawsuit and the guy loses his badge and the family gets a funeral paid for, and then the guy becomes a local hero because it was the one guy that would have told the cops, don't fucking put that boot on my car.
Yeah. You know,
Ugh.
the thing with the Black Lives Matter was they took it too far to where now the cops were afraid to do their job.
Yeah,
I'm all for holding them accountable, but you can't make it to where the cops aren't going to do, because then that's when you had the shootings going up, and the reason the shootings were going up is because the cops weren't going to be doing their job anymore. So the civilian who got accosted, well, the civilian blew away the perp.
Yeah.
That's what you.
One of the reasons why when we had the riots and that, and the lead up to that and after that, there were tons and tons of applicants for Illinois conceal and carry permits. It was insane.
Yeah. You know, and that's one of the things where sometimes it's a necessary thing to happen, where if the cop's going to stand down and then these morons are going to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go rob whoever I want. There's nothing that anyone can do about it. And then they get their head blown off.
Yeah.
That's a problem that just straightened itself out.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where I hear the Second Amendment advocates say all the time, do not expect the police to help you. Don't expect them to save you, this, that, and the third. But on the other side of the coin, if the police aren't going to, well, then, you know, you should then turn around and say to the perps, do not expect the police to cuff you and put you in the car where you are safe. Expect to get run down by whoever you just fucked with, and they're going to empty the magazine into you.
Yeah.
Because if the police are not there to protect them, the police are also not there to save you. It's a two-way street. And that's the thing the criminals don't understand is, you know, that they say an armed society is a polite society. Well, you're going to get a lesson in manners then, because
that is the one thing I love about the city of Gary, Indiana. And for this segment, I really wish I had like a poster or something, because this I would like to actually dedicate to Dr. Vernon Smith, and the first conversation I had with him about a bill that he was trying to pass, because I had thought that this was going to be like some Brandon Johnson or Rahm Emanuel type of nonsense, to where it's going to try and enact gun control. And I started as like, and I was just going, you know what? You're not taking my AK-47, dagnabbit. You're not going to take my AR-15. He's just like, I just want you to have insurance and a lawyer, so when you discharge, if you do property damage, you're responsible for it. And it's not going to wind up costing too much trouble or anything. And for, you know, it's like, wait, that's it? You have to pass a bill for that? And he's like, yeah, you know, I don't want to mandate. I mean, we mandate people for car insurance. I wanted to mandate people to at least have some kind of type of coverage. So if they negligently discharge, then, you know, there's going to be someone who can actually pay for the property damage if the worst ever happens. It's like, I got some people for that, which was absolutely hilarious. Because that was the one thing he was solidly advocating for. It's just like, in this, it's like, there was this joke my realtor told me that turned out to be true. Was back in yesteryears, they had a serious problem, not just with the drugs, but the gangs. And they were literally taking any animal they could, and like a guar, like literally the song Gore Gore by Guar, they were feeding all these animals a steady diet of meth and having them go into fighting rings. And then law enforcement started busting up all the rings where they were doing this. And then several generations down the road, you have, you know, crack children of all these raccoons, these cats, these dogs. And there's just people getting tore up by them, you know, who are getting like various diseases just because, well, you have a gangrenous animal that you literally have zombie animals in a city that's falling apart, attacking people just because they're trying to eat out of your garbage can. So what everyone's doing is they're arming themselves to the teeth for a animal zombie apocalypse that's actively ongoing. So guy goes out to take his garbage out because his wife is on his case, and it's in the middle of the night, and he's just like lighting a cigarette. I'm like, all right, whatever, honey, I'm going to take out the garbage. He goes to try and go by the garbage can. It's knocked over. He goes and pulls it up, and he goes ahead and gets himself clawed up by a raccoon or a possum that's just, you know, just meth out because it's 2 generations attached from the fighting rings, and it still has that genetic memory.
You know, I wanted to actually have them put a law on the books a few years ago. and I had all the Second Amendment people. They were sitting there saying horrible shit about me because I was from New York, because I wanted this. But I told them I wanted it a law. I wanted it nationwide where any FFL who sells to you and they don't make sure that you know how to fucking properly load the thing and shoot it without, an accidental discharge. Like if you go to put the magazine in the gun and you immediately squeeze off 2-3 rounds, they should have cleared you for that. And they're like, well, this is just, what part of, shall not be infringed, don't you understand? And I said to him, I'm not looking to infringe anything, but this is the thing. My concern is that we're arming idiots. They said, well, who's going to decide this? Well, this is the thing. If I sell to you, if an FFL sells to you and you wind up where you shot like 4 or 5 people, and it wasn't that you went on a shooting rampage, you literally went to go put the fucking magazine in your gun and you squeezed off like 5-6 rounds because you had the trigger depressed while you were doing it. Like literally something retarded. The FFL, because they didn't clear you, I want them to be, brought up as an accessory. It's that simple, because it's one of those things. And they're like, well, how do you prove it? And, I said, well, here, and I showed them that we have classes in this country for like over 100 years where you can go and learn. It's state sponsored. Every state has them, where they will teach you firearm safety and how to they're like, well, no, that's infringing. I said, no, I don't want to get as somebody who got shot specifically because an idiot was cleaning his gun and shot me in the head with the fucking thing. It's one of those things where I didn't get shot by a gun. I got shot by an idiot. And that's why I'm all for this, is because I'm not looking at gun control. I'm looking at gun control. In other words, we're like,
you're looking at idiot control, not gun control. Yeah, that was the exact same thing he told me. He's like, look, I'm not looking to infringe, man, but I want people to not negligently discharge. And I was like, oh, well,
that's exactly it.
Instructor taught me that's the one thing you never do. And he's like, that's my point, man. It's like, I have to legislate this because people don't already have it. And I'm like,
no, it's like the bumper sticker said, gun control means using both hands. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm literally looking for gun control, not gun control, but gun control. In other words, like, there's multiple safeties. You're telling me that you were still able to fire off these rounds. Well, yeah, because the safeties were doing this, so I had it modified, so the safeties don't work. So those buttons, they're just dead now. Now you have to know that there are people out there that do know how to do this with certain older models of guns, where before they built in the redundancies where it just won't operate at all if you try to disengage the safeties. People have, they've jury rigged it. The Southerners have a great term for this. That's a person they refer to as a cletus.
Oh yeah, the guys that bubba their firearms.
Yeah, exactly. If you've gone and bubba the firearm, where the safeties are just now ornamental and they can work without them being engaged. Well, that's one of those things. Yeah, if your gun can, look at what happened with SIG, where that's what I'm saying. It's things like that. That to me is something that should not be allowed to happen. And again,
the fact that the P320 was able to basically operate like a Japanese Nabu from the Second World War, and they wanted people to not only pay an exorbitant amount of money, because Sig Sauer is known for normally being German over-engineered dungeon porn as far as quality, to where they have a safety for the safety. And then to engage that first safety, you need to grip that as if you're going to put your arm up someone's butthole, to fire it. And it's like they over-engineer everything, so it's supposed to be a seamless arm, no flaws, no imperfections, just this piece of mechanical perfection, to where there is no problem with the firearm. There's a problem with the cletus or the bubba who's trying to handle it.
Right.
And ironically, before it ever got to Bubba's lack of a shot, it just discharges into an airman's leg and kills him.
Yeah. Well,
that was horrible. I was like, wait, this is a lineup for a good joke. Are you kidding me? No, seriously. It took out an airman who was just he didn't even get to draw to actually test. to go ahead and actually engage in the training of using the range. You know, it's just a matter of, all right, forward, present arms, pop. And, you know, as soon as he goes and grips onto it, just discharge into his leg, and the medic couldn't get to him fast enough because it just happened like that.
Well, that's the other thing with that shooting, the quote unquote ice shooting, where you hear the shot and then everyone fires off. My understanding was that 320 discharged on its own.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole different direction. That's the gun. But I'm talking about specifically if it's one of those things where if the person has not taken the available precursor tests to prove that they actually know how to do it, well, yeah, your ability to keep and bear arms should not be infringed, but it's one of those things where, you know, you should make it where if it comes down around the FFL's ears, if you sell a gun to somebody and he accidentally kills like 2-3 people just because he was trying to slap a magazine in and he wound up discharging like 2-3 rounds, it's one of those things. Okay, it's really simple. Okay, you want to buy this gun? Did you take the precursor course yet? No. Oh, okay, here. What is this? This is a magazine full of snap caps. I'd like to see you actually just slide the magazine in. Okay, rack the slide. Okay, if at any time the guy goes to do any of this and snap caps come flying out the receiver, guess what? You're not getting this gun until you go take the safety course. I'm not being held responsible for selling this to you.
That's honestly not so bad an idea. If you're going to basically have this guy like family home video style go into the FFL and he wants to buy something, because they all sell you snap caps. I've got some snap caps. I didn't think I'd really need them for this, but in future episodes, sure, I'll go ahead and have some snap caps in either one of my actual arms, or I'll get the prop AK we have when I fix that thing up and actually demonstrate. It will not actually load the arms with the magazines if I actually put the springs and stuff together. It will take the snap caps just fine. But yeah, demonstrating that you have basic competency, that wouldn't be too bad. Doing it as a right to refuse service, sure. That wouldn't require any legislation, wouldn't require any bupkis. Nobody needs to sign a bill, just a matter of, okay, I want to make sure you're not an idiot before I sell this to you. We're going to call this the Dr. Vernon Smith Doctrine. Clunk. Here you go, moron. Here's some snap caps. Now show me you know what the hell you're doing.
Well, no, that
would be laughable.
I want it as legislation. I want this to be enacted on a federal level where, again, if you were an FFL and you sell to this person and the person is new to the gun world, like this is the thing. Like when Black Lives Matter happened and Antifa was running around and you had all this shit with COVID, specifically here in New York, I think we beat out the rest of the country something like 5-1 with new gun sales, because all the uppies went out and like bought like all sorts of guns and shit. And the problem was these people were anti-gunners.
Cat carrier on top of the suitcase and then put that on top of the red coat. All right, sure, you can stick it on the table.
And all these people were anti-gunners for like the past 20, 30, 40 years. But then all of a sudden, when there was a chance that shit was going to hit the fan, they became pro-gun.
I remember that. InfoWars ran a special commercial for those people because there was an FFL holder. He was the CEO of it, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what part of California it was, but it was one of the more... it was a prominent firearms store, and this guy literally made a video saying, okay, here's how it works. Here's the laws that you voted into practice. Here are the laws I have to follow. Stop trying to bribe me. More money is not going to make it any quicker, you know.
Yeah.
He literally had to tell the entire world, we cannot accept bribes. Paying any sort of extra fees is not going to expedite any part of the process. They voted for these laws. They have to follow them. So he was instructing them to, 1, stop trying to bribe the staff because that's a criminal offense. 2, stop trying to bribe him because that's probably a federal offense, I think he was saying. And then 3, that as far as the complaints that they had, to stop directing them towards his company, but to direct them to the federal government because that's the laws he has to follow. Did you ever see that commercial for 2 years straight because he got that many complaints?
Did you ever see the video? It's a cute girl. She's wearing camouflage shorts. She's got on a bikini top and she has on a baseball hat and sunglasses. and she goes and shoots the Desert Eagle, and the recoil brings the gun up into her face and breaks her nose.
Breaks her nose. Yeah, I've seen that one several times. Yeah.
Well, this is my whole point, that now there are more of these people where I live armed than there are people who are actual 2A advocates. So
I'd say that's a problem with your government, man.
Well, that's the whole point. This is why one of the reasons I'm pushing for this as being legislation. I want to put into place where, again, if there is no proof that you are competent at all with a firearm, that the FFL can be held accountable if they sell you a gun and you go out and do something within, it has to be within a certain amount of time. Let's say 30 days, 90 days, whatever.
I'd say maybe 2 years just to be sure, because you never know.
Well,
because the ATF loves to shut down FFLs for nonsense happening. Like, have you ever seen the movie Amos and Andy?
Yes, I did.
The type of stuff that happens in Amos and Andy, to where all the people come to I think it's the character Amos is the black guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All the people from Brooklyn come to Amos's aid as soon as they see it on the TV that the cops are having a shoot-off with them because they think he stole the property from the guy that just died that he bought it off of before he actually died.
Yeah.
You know? So they all go there with literal torches and pitchforks.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy, it's Amos and Andrew. And the guy, Andrew, that they bring in, he's a ringer.
Yes.
It's basically so that they don't get in trouble. And the thing of it is, like, I don't want to give the ATF more grounds to actually hurt FFLs than possible. It's one of those things where, like, no, if it's within like 30 days, let's say, like within a month, that they wind up shooting somebody accidentally, accidental discharge or whatever,
right?
You're responsible because you armed this moron. But if you have a gun, but that'll also flip the script. If you bought a gun and you aren't trained and you hurt somebody, I want it to come down much harder on the gun owner where, okay, you have this firearm. Yes, sir. Well, where did you get trained? Huh? Trained? What do you mean trained? I didn't take any training. Okay, how long have you had this gun? About 2 years. Really? And in that 2 years amount of time, how often have you gone to the range? I don't know, maybe twice. So let me see if I got this straight. How many rounds do you own? 10,000. So you have 10,000 rounds. You've owned the gun for 2 years. Were these annual trips to the range? Oh no, I went to the range the first 2 weekends I had it, and then I figured I figured it out.
I figured it out. He says,
"No, bro, you've really got to talk to people around here. This is the shit that you'll hear." So that's my beef with it. Is, I mean, look, you can, like, this is the thing. One of my nephews hates driving. He got his driver's license. He hasn't driven in going on 20 years.
Jesus.
He just keeps renewing his license. Now, this is the thing. They were talking about people who drive, retesting them. But now my point is, this guy who has had a license for 20 years could get into a car accident with the kid who's had his license 2 years and has been driving the entire 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come down on the kid instead of my nephew, because my nephew has a spotless record because the fucker doesn't drive.
Because he doesn't drive. He's got a spotless record.
Right. So it's the same thing where if you got somebody who bought a whole bunch of guns when COVID or anything happened, and they literally went in and asked, okay, what's the top 10 most popular calibers? Well, 22 long rifle, there's the 5.56, there's
9mm, 7.62 by 39, and then 12 gauge.
Right. Okay. And what are the 10 most popular rifles for each of those gauges? Like, what's the most popular? Okay. Well, okay, I'll take one of each.
I'll take one of each, he says.
No, I'm not kidding. I was in the gun shop and I watched a guy drop 10 grand in one shot.
What?
Yeah. These people who live here have money like this because these are all like people who work in Wall Street, or they work for Disney, or they work for MGM, or they work for Viacom.
I've had several members of my family that work for Disney. My grandfather actually decided a few years ago he was going to not have his timeshare anymore because he got very disgruntled with them. But that's a family matter I can't really discuss on the company. But yeah, turned out he wasn't the only person that got rid of their timeshare.
There are people who live here. Their income is well above $500,000 a year. There's people here who they will make within a 5-year span. They will make well over $2-3 million take home. These people have money. There are doctors here. There are plastic surgeons in New York and Los Angeles have the same. So in New York, Los Angeles, Miami, 3 richest cities. People have income brackets like that. I'm surrounded by millionaires. So these people can go into a gun shop and drop 10, 20, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 like it's nothing. So they'll walk out with like $7, $8, $9, $10,000 or more rifles in one shot, along with a case of ammunition for each one, a full optics rig, everything you can think of. They'll have a separate case for each rifle, and then they'll never fire any of the fucking things. They'll just sit in.
Full optics for each rifle. How far are we going to go with optics? Are we talking to where they're just going to try and get some type of scope? Or are we going to talk about where they're trying to get something fancy to where they're going to get a new Starlight scope that has like night vision and
I was going to say,
craziness.
They get the Starlight. Some of these people will get the infrared laser with the infrared light, which you can only see through the scope because you can't see it. So, they'll get like the full fucking the Black Ops shit. They get the SEAL Team 6 package. They will spend on a rifle and the optics. They will spend well over $10,000 because they have the money. But then, which was going to frustrate anyone who watches this. It will sit. Every rifle I just named is a safe queen.
No!
They will buy all of this shit. They will buy all the ammo into the safe it goes until it says on the news, "Oh shit! It's finally going down. The shit has hit the fan." Then all of a sudden, these idiots will run out of the house with like 2 rifles strapped like crosswise across their back, holding another rifle. The wife will also have 2 strapped across her back, holding a rifle. Like everyone was talking about the guy and his wife that with the Black Lives Matter.
I was just thinking about over in Mississippi or where it was. Yeah.
Now
they're horribly mishandling their firearms, but they came out on their porch. Was like, yeah, you're gonna get out of here, and it's like, no, you don't know how to handle that. Put that down, you idiot. Go back inside.
Now picture we got literally millions of people like that in this area.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is why I'm saying. You arm these motherfuckers like this. You arm them to the teeth. You're giving them fucking tungsten rounds. It's like it's the explosive tip tungsten hollow point, where basically the thing can go through an Amazon delivery van from the front.
From the front side and still have fireworks going out.
It can go through the front, go through the engine block, go through the passenger compartment, go through all of the packages, come out the back, and still take out the Subaru behind it. So you're giving them this shit, and these fucking country club yuppies have never held a firearm before. Why the hell do they need something that they can fucking take out a Cessna by murking the pilot from the ground? They don't need this shit. And so that's my point is if you
annihilate a Cessna by taking out the pilot, that's insane.
Well, that's what I'm getting at is if you have people like this that are buying these guns and they take home these rifles or they take home their handguns and they're sitting there and they're in traffic, and because people do dumb shit, so they're in bumper to bumper New York traffic, and so they're trying to let me just try to see if I can get the magazine in here since traffic isn't going to move for another 20 minutes anyway. And next thing you know, out their window goes 5-6 shots right into the school bus next to them. Well, why did this moron have this gun? And who sold him this ammunition? Why the fuck did this guy have full metal jacket bullets in his gun? Oh, well, because they're more money. And so I just told him to get this because it was 3 times the price of the other one. And this guy had his fucking Diamond Club card on him. Oh, okay. So you sold him. God. Yeah. So,
this is why, ever since the first and hopefully only Civil War, General Ambrose Burnside got together with his cohorts and made the National Rifle Association so he could properly educate free
That's my
men
point.
to learn how to properly operate firearms.
There was I forget
Oh
which
my God.
I forget which Civil War movie I was watching, but there's a famous scene where the sergeant is teaching them all how to load their muskets, and him and the corporal behind him and everyone else, they hit the deck because one of these guys accidentally shot the rifle while he was loading it. And you see, like in the tree behind them, you see the friggin' rod. The ramrod is sitting in the tree wagging because he shot the ramrod and nearly took out the sergeant. That when I seen that actually was why I went the next day, and I'm on I think Discord or something. I'm like, yeah, no, we need to put a law in effect or some sort of legislation where they have to know how to at least load the thing without shooting it. They have to know, well, no, it shall not be infringed. What don't you understand? I'm like, no, I don't think everyone should. Look, I'm sorry. Just like I don't believe everyone should have access to a car if they don't know how to drive. Like, I'll never forget it. My father told me about his cousin Gasparo. And Gasparo, they had to buy Gasparo his license. He couldn't drive if you held him at gunpoint.
He couldn't drive you home at gunpoint.
My
That's
father,
bad, man. I'm used to that being an insult in Chicago. That man, if you cannot drive, if you're being held up, man, you suck as a driver and deserve to be shot by the gang member. Oh my God!
He went with Gasparo, and Gasparo used his car, and they went on the road test. And he said, so Gasparo, went off, drove off with the instructor, and he said, and I'm waiting, and they still haven't come back. And I'm waiting. He said, all of a sudden they come back, but they're on foot. And I look at the instructor, I go, where's my car? And he says, it's about 6 blocks up and 2 blocks over. It's parked. He said, all right, what happened? He said, did he pass? And the instructor looks at him and he says, pass? Pass? He said, if I had a piece on me, I would have shot him. He said, do you know what this imbecile did? And so my father goes, no, what did he do? He said he was supposed to do a 3-point turn. And he goes, yeah. He said, so this idiot backed up over the sidewalk onto the lawn, through the fence, turned the other way, drove through the rose garden, took out the mailbox, and drove off the curb back into the street. That's how he did a 3-point turn. He did the 3-point turn up through 2 yards.
Oh God, I'm dying.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
But this was cousin Gasparo, and so when my father told me this, and he said, so because my father said, I kind of ride the fence on, like arming everybody. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's the same with driver's license. He said, some people shouldn't drive. He said, Pichota, there's just some people, they shouldn't have a gun. He's like, some of these people, you talk to them, he says, I wouldn't give them a potato peeler.
Oh God. On to that, I've got a great story, and then I'll get ready to try to read the rest of the article of the kids. My conceal and carry instructor, comically known as Blade because of a typo and because of his height, and the guy is black. So when he decided to be bald and throw on sunglasses, he was about 2 shades lighter than Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
And when he took the firefighters course, they made a typo in his name, so he forever got known as Master Blade or Sensei Blade or Instructor Blade, and it just carried on for him forever. So one of Sensei Blade's stories that he had was back when Range USA was known as Shoot Point Blank. There was a really dumb lawsuit that came through as to why they had to change the name, which is bullshit in my opinion, but that's just me, not the company and what have you. So back when Range USA was known as Shoot Point Blank, they decided that they were going to get in on Groupon. And the people that came out to the range for the Groupon special were eclectic and very unique. There was one woman that decided that she was just going to get, I think it was, she got like a Hellcat or something, and she just went like this. Not like this, not like this. She went like this and just emptied the entire magazine into into the target, and then as soon as she ran out of ammo, just went, "Whoa, whoa! Hey, it's broken! Whoa, whoa!" And she just kept, because there's actually a button that you can push when you're in the actual lane in the range to move the target forwards or backwards. And she thought that this was like a light switch that she could hit to actually get an attendant. So she turned around to where the bullet-resistant glass is, to where the counter and everything else is facing, and it's going click, 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 and it's just waving around this handgun. You're just going, woo, woo, it's broken. Hey, I need some assistance, mister. It's not working no more. For 3 minutes straight. And then there's another guy in the lane next to her that thinks he's Keanu Reeves. And this guy literally gets like a very nice trench coat. And he actually has like a very expensive piece of suspender equipment to where he actually has like the holsters in. And this guy decided he was actually going to try and step back outside of the lane and do like some type of Matrix introduction. While the guy's going past him in the red vest and the hat and everything with the actual suppressor equipment in, telling everyone, okay, here's the rules of the range. Here's what you don't do. Here's what you do. Here's how you want to operate. And he's giving them the rules and everything. And this guy's just not paying attention. He just steps back as this guy goes by him. And he's like, and this guy just decides he's going to whip out 2 handguns. And he's like, hold on, do I have the... And he's literally fumbling around, making a laser light show because he's trying to make sure that he actually has his laser sights turned on. So the guy goes from lane 1 to lane 20 on one end. And he's like, you do this, you do that. Don't try and go for your casings. If you have any problems, put the handgun down. And then, what the hell are you doing there, Mr. Rave Show? And he's like, I think I got this working. And like, he winds up getting tackled into the wall because he's just like, listen, you idiot, you are not supposed to be waving those around like that. You are not only waving those around at people, flagging everybody like you're going to shoot them, but I don't even know if you have the safeties engaged. You could have killed 10 people here. And he's like, oh my God, really? I'm so sorry. I just watched John Wick 2 and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is part of the reason. I mean, I'm all for. Look, everyone, in my opinion, everyone who is competent has the right to keep and bear arms. If we can prove that you are incompetent, maybe you need something non-lethal, like one of those pepper ball guns. Maybe after you shoot yourself in the face a few times with some pepper balls, you're going to figure out, okay, maybe I should learn actual, like trigger discipline. That's the whole point of what I was saying is, like, yeah, you can't have people out there that don't know what the fuck they're doing that's armed. I mean, I don't like the fact that I have to say this, but at the same time, no, I as somebody who I myself learned how to use rifles, and guns very young. I learned to use them well before I was of legal age to own and operate. And it's one of those things where people say, oh, well, you shouldn't teach children how to do. Why? If they're around the guns at an early age,
know how to use them.
They learn respect for them. They learn, like, okay, like, for example, when you were a kid, I'm sure you had a blender in your kitchen. And I'm sure you were told, don't ever put your fingers in the blender. It's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those common sense things. There is no reason, like, it's one of those things, okay, the coffee pot is off the burner. We're pouring coffee. Don't put your palm on the burner.
Because it's going to burn your hand. Yeah.
Right. So I don't see why it's a big deal to want to stress to people. I mean, we have to look up one day, like the percentile, the national thing of negligent discharges and accidental shootings.
Uh-huh.
Because I think the number would be staggering, and it's ironic because these lefties are always talking about they're all bitching about guns. Why don't any of them ever bring this up? Because this is something, as somebody who's pro 2A, I'm actually concerned about. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned about getting shot by an idiot than I am by a disgruntled person, because I've actually been shot by an idiot. And again, I don't blame the gun; I blame the idiot. Yeah.
I was very fortunate that the one time my neighbor across from me had trouble with a particular meth raccoon, and uh, his wife doesn't want him smoking inside the house, so he'll smoke outside in his vehicle. And he'd go and smoke outside his vehicle, and just the typical meth raccoon you have, they'll knock over the garbage can and they'll start eating the garbage. So he knows that, you know, I'm trained, I'm armed. I used to be a rent-a-cop. I'm across the street from, and at the time I was at the other job where I was working second shift. So I go, hey neighbor, can you go take a look over there for me? I think that damn raccoon's over there. I don't want to get bit or nothing, man. I don't want no rabies or nothing crazy, because, you know, the animal zombie apocalypse and that, you know. So, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll go take a look over there. This sucker's about 60 pounds, and it becomes my literal white whale for about 6 months, until eventually I wind up actually having to, because of the size of this animal, I actually have to use the rifle to put the animal down to keep it from not only attacking my neighbor, but attacking the other small animals that we have, because we've been TNRing a lot of cats, and a lot of our neighbors have indoor-outdoor animals to keep the rodent population down. And in the off case of groundhogs, cats will quite literally, like, have you ever seen the movie Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
It's a thing that happens in Gary, to where a groundhog will be going out and about, and it will get drop kicked by a bunch of cats. I have seen this happen. It is the most hilarious shit ever. A groundhog will come out and start looking around because it'll smell food, and it'll go to whatever food, like people leave out like rotten chicken or rotten beef or whatever in that, just because, well, waste not, want not is pretty much the mantra. So they put it out in that for the strays. They take care of some strays, and the groundhog comes out, and then all the cats will go, oh, hell no. And they'll drop kick and attack the freaking groundhog and maul it, to where you'll, like in the Metalocalypse TV series, you'll hear like someone being ripped apart with yellow noises and that. It's like that. You go, what the hell is that? And you grab your handgun, you grab your rifle, grab your shotgun, or whatever, and you'll see a bunch of cats ripping apart a groundhog. And it's like, oh, all right, we'll go back inside. Nothing to worry about.
You know, I had a friend of mine once. We were all going to be taking his boat out, so we all got in the car, and the kid's hitting shotgun, and myself and guy's brother and somebody else were all in the back seat. And he put gas cans on all of our laps because we were going to the gas station in the neighborhood because it's cheaper than buying the gas when you're already on the boat. Yeah. So we're all in this back seat, and his brother was sitting next to me. And the brother takes out a Newport, pops it in his mouth, and goes to light the thing.
Oh, shit.
So and now the brother was tough. And so I smack it out of his mouth, and I smack the lighter out of his hand, and he starts like flexing on him. He's like, yo, what the fuck, man? What the fuck's the matter with you? This, that, and the third. And so I say to the guy driving, I go, yo, bro, your brother's trying to light a cigarette. And so he turns around, and he's like, what the fuck is the matter with you? It's like, what? He's like, don't try to light a cigarette. Are you out of your mind? You'll blow us all up. He's like, without even missing a beat, the guy goes like this, but we haven't got gas in the cans yet. And so I go, but the gas cans have had gas in them before. There's gasoline vapor. And he goes, so what? And
it's
so the brother goes, asshole, the vapor is more flammable than the liquid. We'd actually be safer if they were full. So, yeah.
That's the thing.
Now, this is the thing, though, is the guy who was sitting next to me who went to go light this, he wasn't stupid at all. He was ignorant of this. He did not possess the information. And so a lot of these people that are going to buy these guns, it's not that they're morons. Like the guy with the light show and thinking John Wick 2 was cool. Yeah. He's not stupid. He's ignorant.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out there that are ignorant that they're letting them get armed. And that brings it back to that is, I understand you got people who they'll go and they'll buy their guns because they got the zombie animals or whatever. Yeah. That's great. That's great. But if we have these programs, and from my understanding, most of these programs to learn how to use firearms are free. Now, I'm not trying to make it where
they're free. They ought to be free.
I'm not making it to where you have to go take the course to become armed. I don't want to say that, because that is what they're right when they said that's an infringement. But my thing is, then, if you go and you buy these guns and you had not taken this course, and the FFL is talking to you and knows good damn and well that you have never handled a firearm in your life, just the same as if you went and bought a car and you don't know how to drive, well, the car dealership would be responsible if you killed somebody. I don't see why there should be any difference if the FFL arms you and you accidentally shoot somebody. To me, I don't see any difference in the two. And that's something as a 2A person, I'm very big on this, because I'd much rather know I'm at the range and there is zero chance of me dying of a negligent discharge, because everyone there knows what the fuck they're doing. Now, because this has happened in the past few years, I'm afraid to go to the range, because I'm surrounded by New Yorkers who do not own guns normally. And now all of a sudden, where it used to be you could get a slot at the range just by simply walking on, you have to call ahead to see if it's available. And you'll hear in the background people explaining to them, that's not how you do it. You're doing it wrong. Please let me show you before you shoot either me or yourself. You hear this shit going on, because that's the point I was getting at with all this. And it's definitely something that has to be considered, and it's one of those things I'll definitely push for the legislation for, because again, I'm all for everyone being armed, but the caveat having be, if you don't know how to shoot a gun, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to have one. If you cannot load a gun without accidentally shooting somebody, across the street, well, I am so sorry, my friend. Here's a knife. Now, unless you're going to fall on the fucking knife, at that point, bro, just stay in your house. But seriously, if you can't use a gun without shooting somebody, or you can't use a knife without cutting yourself, you were not meant to have a weapon. You know what? You can be the spotter. Go upstairs with the binoculars. You can you're the lookout.
Oh God, I've had several guys I've worked with that didn't know how to operate a knife and cut themselves up pretty bad.
Yeah,
that was a lot of not fun.
I mean, I can understand. I'll be reasonable. I can understand if it's like a knife that has a trigger, like a buck knife, or if it's like something that has a gimmick to it, like a butterfly, even a switchblade where you have to flip a switch. All of those I can see. But if it's literally a fucking straight knife, like a K-bar or a Bowie knife, and you can't draw the thing out of the sheath without cutting your fucking palm open, you were not meant to be around weaponry. If you cannot put your gun in the holster or draw the gun out without discharging a round into the ground, guess what? You shouldn't be operating a handgun. If you go to line up your sights to take a shot at the target, and the minute that you fucking go and take your stance to shoot, and whoa, well, what do you know? You shot already. You're not a quick draw. You literally didn't know what you were doing, and you squeezed the trigger. You depressed it when you were trying to line up your shot, and you just got lucky and hit the target and didn't hit the person that was in front of you. So, again, same difference. I mean, is there a learning curve? Yeah, there's a learning curve. I was not an awesome driver when I first started driving. I sucked. I'm sure because I got a lot of rust on me. I'm not going to be, fucking Annie Oakley, who, believe it or not, is from my neighborhood. I'm not going to be Annie Oakley if I go down to the friggin' to the range and start shooting, because I got a lot of dust on me. Yeah. On a
That's one of the reasons I want to take you over to the public range we got over by me, is because that's mostly competent individuals that go there, and they just got them refurbishing it about 8 months ago.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, though, but I have fired a rifle and I have fired a handgun in the past, so I know what I'm doing. But I'm not going to be the greatest shot because I got a lot of dust on me, but I've done it before.
Yeah.
You have people that are my age, some are even older than me, that have never even seen a gun in real life, except on the fucking cop's hip.
Oh, good Lord.
And now they own 12.
Well, they don't become retards.
Yeah, well, that circle it back to what I was saying to begin with, is you shouldn't just be sitting there, using a gun that you don't know what the hell you're doing. You shouldn't be sitting there trying to, like fire off the weaponry if you don't know how to fire it off. If you don't know that there's a few other steps involved, it's just not pulling the trigger and the thing hits the target. You have to line up your shot. You have to make sure all of your safeties are disengaged during the shot. And after the shot is done, if you're not going to be firing a follow-up, you have to re-engage all those safeties and holster the weapon. If you do not know these basic things, there's a problem. You should not be somebody who has a half a dozen to a dozen rifles on tap. That's what I'm saying is like there's so many of these people, they have a whole arsenal. They don't even know what they own. When you ask them, they have to take out the fucking paperwork that they got from the gun shop and read it off to you because they don't even know what the name is of what they bought.
And a devil's advocate says maybe they ought to have their own insurance and not be not have anyone else responsible other than themselves in the court of law. Just if you're going to have that much, the idiot squeezing the trigger ought to be the end of the whole bloody lot of it.
I'd like to say that, but the thing of it is, so many FFLs around here were selling to these people and sending them off on their merry way. That is a gun that you just sold to that fucking dipshit. That is a thing that somebody can kill somebody with, and you sold it to somebody who's most likely going to kill somebody accidentally. I'd like to know literally the correlation of how many accidental shootings there have been since that surge in buying and how many of these people were first-time gun buyers. I guarantee you that the curve is going to back up what I'm saying, and that's the whole point. Is
that actually would be an interesting research thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how we necessarily go about it, but that's actually a pretty decent idea is to actually look at that.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can do the look it up on my end. I'll use like Copilot, then I'll use Grok. I'll put the same questions through both, see if I can get answers.
That's definitely a curiosity, and I just know like locally about most of that stuff to where the irony was the Gary Police Department. I don't know how long ago this was, but it was one thing my realtor told me. They insisted that anyone who's going to become a lawful resident at least own and train to use a firearm because of the meth records, particularly as a problem.
And you know what the active word in that whole sentence is? Train. What? Train. Yeah. They wanted them to train. And that's the point I'm getting at is, I understand a lot of people out there, they can't afford to hire an off-duty officer to show them how to shoot a rifle or to shoot a handgun. I understand that. Those are the people I don't have a problem with, are the ones that are actually going and trying to get the training. My problem, again, is with the people who literally treat it like, okay, I've seen enough movies. I'm just going to do what I saw in the movies.
Yeah, like the John Wick guy at Shoot Point Blank.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, how many people have watched the Stallone movie or Schwarzenegger movie or Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal or any of these movies from like the action genre, from the 80s and the 90s. And they're doing what they saw in those movies where, as well as I do, when you have multiple people running at you and they're shooting the guns at you, and they're not all going to miss their shot where you turn around and shoot at them and you're going to take out all 5 or 6 of them like they do. No, that's not real life. And the other thing is there is recoil.
Yep.
There is, depending on what type of gun you're using, there's actually a chance you're going to get powder burns.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a chance of multiple things happening, that these people don't account for. And that's the other thing too. If you got somebody and they're using a gun and between the gun they're using, the caliber they're using, the ammo they're using, the combination is notorious for giving powder burns. And their first reaction is to scream fuck and move their hand back and forth because they just got powder burns. And in the process of doing that, because their hand is burning and they weren't prepared for it, they squeeze off 3 rounds and they kill 2 more people.
Yep. That was one thing that used to be a common theme with Century Arms Wasser AKs.
Yeah.
Is you would use the regular Wolf or Tula Russian ammunition, and it's of lower quality, and like most rounds you'll fire out of a firearm, even though modern powder is smokeless, you still have the residue.
Yeah.
And they load in all the old, com block ammunition, Tula, Wolf, Red Army Standard, what have you, and it would have still all of that lead coated in the entire piece of ammunition.
Yeah.
And then they fire off several rounds of it, and they decide, well, for whatever reason, all right, I'm going to go through several rounds of it. And then at a certain point, the rifle would get gunked up, and then it would reach a point to where the actual recoil spring and the slide and everything, no, not the slide, but like the rack would come back, and then the next thing you know, off comes the dust cover, and then with the dust cover, because of how it's shaped, there goes your rod and the recoil spring, and then the guts and everything fly towards your face, and then the magazine pops out, falls at your feet, and then the spring and all of the other unfired rounds of ammunition just spill all over. So pretty much you're stuck holding on to the pistol grip and the receiver, and then the guts and everything else just spew past, like out into your face or over your shoulder, and you've just got an entire Looney Tunes style, just or nothing but black powder.
Yeah. The other thing of it is certain vocabulary words. I'm all for, again, the FFL, not just the thing with the snap caps, but there's other things too. Like they have to ask them, this is all at the FFL's discretion, where, it's another thing like, okay, I have some words to ask you pertaining to handguns. Like, are you familiar with what the term cook-off means? No, I have no idea what that means. Well, okay, I don't feel comfortable then selling you this handgun and 5 cases of ammunition that you said you're going to the range tomorrow for a good 8 hours. You said, yeah, I'm going to shoot off as many rounds as I can. Yeah. Okay.
That's how a lot of people want to have an earlier century firearms explode, particularly like the Wasser and the other Raz and other AK platform rifles just explode in their faces, because they'd get it and they wouldn't go gradually cycle a couple rounds through like 100 or 200 and then go, okay, here, let me clean it, let me get it cool, let me go ahead and, give it some TLC. No, they figured, okay, well, I've seen enough Rocky movies or enough insert random action hero movies to where they literally just gunk all the rounds through it like they're a gun tuber and just try and see how many rounds can I get until this thing seizes up. And then instead of seizing up, it explodes.
Well, that's my point. That's exactly what my point was. And or more to the point, they shooting something that has a good recoil to it, and they went through 3 cases already, and they're going to start the 4th case, and they load it up. And, oh wow, my hand's starting to cramp. Let me go out for a vape break. And so they take this thing with the magazine fully loaded, and they chambered one because they were going to start shooting it, but their hand cramped up because they've been shooting for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And so they put it down. They're in their particular, they're in their shoot over at the fucking range, and they walk away. And after about 2-3 minutes, the handgun shoots by itself because the barrel is red hot that they don't see because the slide is covering it. And it cooks off the round, and it shoots the guy that was in the booth next to them.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying is, and now
that thankfully doesn't happen too often because there's solid dividers from one booth to another, so it would only damage the booth itself nowadays if you're at an indoor range. If
right.
An outdoor range, still, usually the distance they have in that's hardly a problem.
But still, it is a possibility. It's a very minute possibility, but it's a possibility, and it's a possibility that could simply be avoided by what cook-off means is if you shoot multiple rounds through a handgun or a rifle in a short amount of time, depending on the make of the rifle, what type of barrel it is, what type of ammunition you're using, it was going to affect how fast that barrel gets hot enough where it can cook off a round. In other words, if there was a round chambered, that round can actually fire on its own because it got hot enough where it caused the chemical reaction and the bullet discharged. Oh, I didn't know that could happen. What would you recommend? See how easy that conversation is to have? All you have to do is point out to them certain things. So I think putting together a checklist of vocabulary words to ask these people who are not gun people, who are buying these things, And it's literally, they didn't want you to have it because guns are dangerous. But now, because they're a responsible person, this thing is magically safe, which is hypocritical, but that's how these dipshits think. And ironically, they are now the more dangerous gun owner than you and me who know what we're doing. And these are the ones that are going to cause the problem. These are the ones that are going to pull out the piece when something happens and shots are going to get fired, more likely than not, because they didn't mean to shoot it. They grabbed the thing and did not think to put the trigger the finger across the trigger guard. They put their finger wrapped right around the trigger, not realizing, okay, if this is an XYZ amount of pounds per square inch pull to discharge this thing. This guy's full of adrenaline, waving his gun, and next thing you know, bang, 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 because he was depressing the trigger. That's what I'm saying. This is part of the reason I'm thinking that and I only say this again. If I lived, like, let's say, oh fuck, if I was somebody like somewhere like Indiana, Iowa, where I didn't have to worry about yuppies buying multiple guns. Yeah, idiots.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, yuppies owning guns are always a bad problem.
I literally am surrounded by millions of them now.
You poor bastard. I thankfully have moved to where I don't have any of them so far. I've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm relatively fortunate.
And that's why it's such a big fear for me. Is I'm terrified if we do have a shit hits the fan situation, I'm cooked. I'm so afraid that there's going to be bullets coming into my house from multiple directions because my neighbors were literally slapping the magazine into their rifle and it shot and went through my house.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's my fear. I'm more concerned about all of the negligent discharges than the actual intentional ones. Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, and that's the we've been going on about this now for about 45 minutes, but that's the whole point of it. Is it's a big fear of mine and a big concern, and it's something that they should address.
I got you.
And I'm all for, you know what, they want to talk about gun buybacks. If they were going to buy back from all these idiot yuppies who, once they learned all this stuff, are like, oh, well, this really isn't for me then because, I didn't know I actually had to think so much just to shoot a gun, which you're going to hear people say that. Yeah, you would hear them say that. You'd be amazed. Well, how much did you pay for the gun? Well, I paid $1,800. Okay, you know what? We're going to give you back your $1,800. I'm sick of that. They have a gun buyback. Oh, how much did you pay for the gun? I paid $1,800. Okay, here's $200.
I hate buyback programs because they're normally garbage.
No, and I know that, but I'm saying, like, for this one, if we're talking about basically getting the yuppies to voluntarily give up their arsenals that they put together in the past 5-6 years, yeah. And as a taxpayer, I'm saying make it a 1-for-1. Give them what the fuck they paid. Get them the fuck away from the guns. Just get them out.
I'm perfectly fine with, because that's the one thing I've never liked about it is that they'll do some garbage where it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to give you a $50 gift card or some crap like that.
No, and that's just that's them trying to disarm all of us.
Yeah, I hate that crap.
No, I'm specifically saying I'm all for going to these people who are first-time gun buyers, and it turns out their first time out the gate, they spent $36,000 and bought like a dozen rifles with the different scopes, and depending where they are, some of them got the suppressors. They got a great rig, don't get me wrong. It's
only
like,
as good as the user. And
thank you.
I have to go ahead and take a leak, so I'm going to go play some music while I go and empty my bowels real quick.
All right. What is this, like AI music?
Yeah, because that's the one thing we're not going to get in trouble for. It's the one Crossfire showed us before.
All right, go for it.
All right, Paul, I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to use the can, man.
All right, do your thing.
The screen glows blue in a room mold. Another death threat, another story told. Eat shit and die, says the ghost behind the mask. They want me murdered, is that such a heavy task? Some see they freak with a mental fucking hole. Wants to see the maggot swallow up my soul. They hope I ride on a cross of roach and slime, but I'm just sitting here killing fucking time. I got the infinity gauntlet of the broken and the mad. The diaper sexual furries, they're all so fucking sad. They scream into the void of a side that doesn't care, while I'm clicking these pliers, breathing stagnant air. So put them in the box, let the walls be cold and white. Throw the keys away and end this mental blight. Institutionalize the rot, let the asylums rise again. I'm the harbinger of logic, the surgeon of their pain. The world will be a paradise, a clean and silent land, when every screaming retard is dealt a heavy hand. Yeah, put them in the box. Blue skies a cesspool where the moderation's limp. Every basement-dwelling loser, every blue-haired pimp, advocating murder in the name of being kind, while Section 20 leaves the justice fucking blind. They say I'm a net negative, a cancer on the earth, but their own pathetic lives haven't seen a moment's worth. They're begging on their cash apps, crying on the floor, while I'm the one they hate, and I'm the one they adore. Success is measured in decades, like the prophecy of doom. If you strike me down today, you'll be singing a different tune. A million more will rise, a million more will fight. You can't kill an idea with your petty childish spite. I don't fear the reaper, I don't fear the grave. Before I was born, I was nothing. There's nothing left to save. But while I'm here, I'll be the mirror of your soul. A cynical king in a roach-infested hole. So put them in the box, let the walls be cold and white. Throw the keys away and end this mental blight. Institutionalize the rot, let the asylums rise again. I'm the harbinger of logic, the surgeon of their pain. The world will be a paradise, a clean and silent land, when every screaming retard is dealt a heavy hand. Put them in the box. Put them in the box. I'm an irrelevant retard. Right. That's what you said. But you're still watching. You're always watching. It is what it is.
Okay, that got me enough time to go and empty my bladder. Oh, geez, you got kicked out again.
Yeah, I was trying to open YouTube and Discord, and I was telling you earlier, but the computer froze. I'm using the personal one, the work one. It's still updating. It should be done because again, we don't usually ever do anything on Sunday, so I have all the updates on both computers scheduled for Sunday. So, but on YouTube, I was going to say to you, look up 250 years. It's a song. It's another AI generated one. It's really sick. I just couldn't get it up on my computer. I was looking for it. Well,
all right, 250 years. All right. Who made it? The Marine Corps birthday song?
No. Hold on. I'm looking right now. Just give me a second.
All right.
Bear with me.
Oh. I enjoy the fact that we can play that song without getting in any fucking trouble. That's actually quite hilarious. That's what about this ashtray. Ooh, who has pizza?
No, it's the garlic breadsticks.
Ooh, even better.
To go with dinner.
Ooh, it's gonna be tasty.
It's gonna be a hard.
You okay?
Yeah, I took over a fucking stairs. I can't see what the
Oh, stairs and arrow. Oh, Jesus. Well, it only is a work computer. Oh, God. All right. So we played that. Let's see here. What else we got? We did Teak Overs. We had the reparations. We had Mr. Exeth go over rearming the troops. And an intro music video. Let's see here. Well, unless he comes back in the next few minutes, we have Epic Fury going up a notch. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and show the CENTCOM website. All right. And plus, all right, U.S. Central Command, also known as CENTCOM, Operation Epic Fury at the direction of the President of the United States. Force for striking targets to dismantle the Iranian regime's security apparatus, prioritizing locations that pose an threat. So let's see here. What do we have? We got 12,300 targets hit, 13,000 combat flights, 155 plus Iranian vessels damaged or destroyed. Seems like we're keeping things fairly proportional. Let's see here. We got one B-1 bomber, B-2 stealth bombers, B-52 bombers, F-15s, F-16s, F-18s, F-2s, F-35s. Wow, I didn't know we had those in stealth. I thought they were just attack fighters. All right, A-10 jets. I'm assuming they mean the Warhounds. EA-18 electronic warfare aircraft. EC-138 electronic warfare aircraft. E-2T. I don't even know what the hell that is. U-2 reconnaissance aircraft. RC-135 reconnaissance. EA-73B electronic warfare aircraft. Globemaster cargo aircraft. That kind of makes sense. C-130 cargo aircrafts. Holy crap. Nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, nuclear-powered submarines, guided missile destroyers, fueling and supply ships. Let's see here. Patriot interceptor missile systems. THAAD anti-ballistic missile systems. Those are expensive. Remember them talking about the THAADs. M142 high mobility artillery rocket systems. Counter drone systems. Let's see here. What do we got here for the video? What do they got for us?
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, Commander of U.S. Central Command, here in the Middle East with our 50,000 service members to provide my 6th update on Operation Epic Fury. Now in our 5th week of the campaign, it is my operational assessment that we are making undeniable progress in eliminating Iran's ability to project power in meaningful ways outside its borders. We don't see their Navy sailing, we don't see their aircraft flying, and their air defense and missile defense systems have largely been destroyed. Despite our clear dominance, our forces remain vigilant. It's long been my belief that every success we have begins and ends with our people, and our warfighters deployed for it are doing outstanding work. During this trip, I've had the privilege to recognize and award our troops for their courage, resilience, and tenacity as they continue to go above and beyond. Yeah.
Pretty fun work.
Great job. Great job. You enjoy it, huh?
Thank you, sir.
How long have you been in?
12 years, sir.
Fantastic. How you doing?
So you guys, sir? I'm from Ohio.
Okay, what part?
Toledo, sir.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks for what you're doing. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
What's your job?
I'm a wizard for the Strike Eagle.
Okay, and how many missions have you flown?
Probably a couple dozen at this point.
And how long have you personally been out here?
Been out here only since February, sir.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for keep up the great work. Thanks so much. In the meantime, I'm wishing you all the best. I think of you every day and with a lot of pride. So thanks for what you're doing. I really appreciate it and couldn't be prouder. I met with our service members who are operating the most sophisticated and largest active air defense umbrella in the world, right here in the Middle East, to defend against Iran's indiscriminate missile and drone attacks. Since day one, our warfighters have also shown unmatched reach and lethality in systematically dismantling Iran's drone, missile, and naval capabilities by delivering a massive amount of firepower. Every branch of the military is achieving unprecedented success. Our naval forces have launched waves upon waves of cruise missiles and fighter aircraft from the sea. U.S. Air Forces have extended our reach with refueling tankers while executing a high volume of airstrikes into Iran with fighters and bombers. Our soldiers and Marines have delivered long-range strikes from land and mounted a robust air defense to not only protect Americans, but our partners as well. And our Space Force has given us the ultimate high ground, delivering space superiority, which has been a critical enabler to this fight. After witnessing the absolute professionalism, discipline, and dedication of our men and women in uniform supporting Operation Epic Fury, I just could not be prouder. And I know that their families, friends, and loved ones back home share this pride. So to all the moms, dads, husbands, wives, friends, and loved ones back home, thank you for everything that you're doing to support our outstanding warriors. There is no adversary too determined, no mission too difficult, and no task too great for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardian, and Coast Guardsmen that make up the most powerful military the world has ever seen. To all our warfighters, keep up the great work and Godspeed. Thanks so much.
Ooh, not bad at all. Well, sounds like it's going fairly well.
Sorry about that. Found it.
You got it going now, finally?
Yeah. You might want to. Okay, look this up on your end on YouTube. You're gonna love this. If you like the shit that Crossfire is constantly showing you, 250 years by Patriots United.
All right.
You might actually want Tyson. Shut up. You might want to actually make this like the new intro song. Damn dog.
All right. I found it. I just got done playing the press statement they made from.
No, I know. I was here for it.
Yeah, Epic Fury.
Yeah, no, I listened to the whole thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Just one short news clip from Leon I want to show in addition to it, because there were a lot of concerns with what was going on with Epic Fury, that we had a behind enemy line situation where there was a F-15 that was shot down, and both the pilot and the gunner were lost. And thankfully, it seems like, no, we're okay. We got them both, if this is correct.
Yeah, and I saw that. Oh, I just wanted to mention I figured out what was going wrong. Because I stopped the updates, when I went to open Discord and YouTube to get the video to send you, all three, that is StreamYard's, Discord, and YouTube, were simultaneously trying to turn on my microphone and my camera. So that's why everything kept crashing.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna have to restart the computer after the stream and let it all update properly because it's basically committing suicide every time I try to open the other tabs.
I guess I'll tell you to update before you stream with the work laptop.
Yeah. Well, again, I have both of them set up for Sunday.
All right, well, shit happens. All right, here's news from Leon.
The hunt for the missing U.S. airman on board the F-15E jet is finally over with this daring rescue by the U.S. forces. President Trump says the Iranian military was looking hard in big numbers and was getting close. He claimed it was an amazing show of bravery and talent by all. But how did U.S. train, or how does the United States train their pilots to survive and evade capture after being shot down? This story explains.
When a US jet gets hit in an enemy territory, the military switches to a meticulously planned, well-coordinated operation designed to retrieve the crew. A pilot's training, known as Survival, Evasion, Resistance and Escape, or SIRE, kicks in before he or she parachutes to the ground. The pilot, in split seconds, figures out where to land and which areas to avoid while coming down in a parachute. Aviators then figure out where they are, whether it is behind enemy lines, where they can hide, and how they can communicate, all in quick succession.
So as you're coming down in your parachute, you're doing a lot of scoping of the battle space. So chances are you may have been attacking a military installation. So you're trying to figure out where is the best chance for evasion. How can I avoid any military forces? How can I avoid being seen? Are there any areas of cover that I can maneuver to? Because when you're in the air, that's the best vantage point you're going to get.
The training is designed to turn academic theory into muscle memory through high-stress simulations. After ejecting, the crew's first priority is to assess injuries like spinal compression and utilize their seat-mounted survival kits, which contain rations, water purification, and medical supplies.
What are you going to do? It really depends. What did you see as you were coming down? You may have seen thousands of military forces closing in on your position from all sides, in which case, you might be getting ready for capture. Or you might have seen an area, maybe there was a river nearby. You thought you might be able to make it to the river and, hide along the riverbank. Or maybe you saw some roads that hey, I need to avoid those roads because there's going to be a lot of people around those roads.
The crew members, a pilot and a weapons systems officer of colonel rank, ejected from their aircraft after it was hit by an Iranian missile on Friday. The pilot was rescued by US forces shortly after ejecting. The WSO remained behind enemy lines for nearly 48 hours. Armed with only a handgun, he utilized a GPS tracker, distress beacon, and encrypted radio to maintain contact with the US forces. What unfolded next is a multi-layered rescue mission involving everything from special operation forces to airborne surveillance platforms, all working under hostile conditions to get to the crew. This was one of the most complex and time-sensitive operations, known as Combat Search and Rescue, or CSAR. The Air Force units behind CSAR missions include some of the most highly trained and specialized members of the US military. Bureau Report, Beyond World is One.
All right, that's good. We got him. Oh, good. You didn't have another malfunction while we were doing that, too.
Well, no, because I finally figured out why I kept crashing. Like I said, it was because again, it was all three tabs were trying simultaneously to use the camera and the mic. So I was wondering why it kept crashing, and then because I'm like, okay, this is weird. Usually I'm able to open these while I'm on StreamYard, and then I'm looking through the notifications, and it's like, yeah, these are all trying to use your mic and camera at the same time. I'm like, oh, that would explain it. So I must have shut it off right when that particular patch was going to install. So I guess it's just, yeah, who the fuck knows?
All right. Jesus, I guess next time we do this, we'll try and get it going between Saturday and... Yeah, I'll wrap it up shortly here.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to set it the way I used to have it when I was younger, which is I'm just going to have it where it updates at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's good. Oh, we just got dinner ready, so we'll wrap up the last two topics here, and we'll get on. All right, let's see this video that... let's see here. 250 years. Here we go.
Yeah, you're going to love this.
That's my far-flung ancestors.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. The Teutonic Order.
250 years ago, they signed their names, put everything at risk for freedom's sacred flame. They pledged their life, their fortunes, and their honor too. Under God, they built a nation strong and true. From 13 colonies, a beacon rose to shine, a land where liberty and faith would intertwine. 250 years we stand, one nation under God's command. Though we face trials in these days, we trust in you and lift our praise. 250 years of grace, Lord, help us fight for this sacred place. God bless America once more. Guide us like you've done before. The road in God we trust for all to see, endowed by him with sacred liberty. Through every generation battles came, but faith and freedom still remain. Yes, we see our values under fire, our heritage attacked by those who conspire. But we're not broken, we won't fall. We answer still to freedom's call. 250 years we stand, one nation seeking God's command. Though darkness tries to steal our lives, we hold to what we know is right. 250 years of praise, we'll honor this, our sacred place. God bless America, restore the vision of our founders' call. Father, we won't stay silent anymore. We're standing up for what you have in store. 250 years. Your hand is led. We trust you for the path ahead. No enemies would see us fall. We know that you are Lord of all. Renew our land, renew our faith. America still has a place. 150 years and counting still. We're seeking out in this war. 250 years, the best is yet to come. When we return to God and stand as one, in God we trust. We'll say it loud. 250 years, still standing proud.
Shit makes me want to go ride a horse.
Nice.
That is, yeah. I'm thinking, if you look when that dropped, it dropped right after we got involved with the shit with Iran, and I'm guessing all that Templar imagery, hell. Yeah, I'm in tactical Templar.
The Iranians off. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, I'm in tactical. I'm in tactical Templar's Discord. I'm going to tag him with it.
Definitely, go for it.
Yeah. It might be interesting talking to that guy. I'm going to see one day if we can get him on. He's actually gaining a lot of traction. Yeah, he's gaining a lot of traction.
You're descended from the Hospitallers. I'm like far flung from the actual Teutons because one of the first Germanic states that they had diplomacy was Bavaria, and that's where like a good portion of my family comes out of.
Yeah, bro, my cousins are still knights. They're the Knights of Malta.
Nice.
Yeah. That's like everyone when I first started doing this shit. You remember they were all going after me because they're like, oh, you got family that are organized crime.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but.
Ooh, perfect. Okay, good. So I don't have to go looking for it down here. Thank you. Yeah. I just got to finish up the last topic of Alex Jones. We'll be done.
Awesome.
All right, yeah. It's your favorite one. It's about Bondi being fired. All right, yeah, it won't take long. Okay.
I still can't believe that she's 60.
Yeah, so
Bro,
Bondi...
She doesn't look 60, does she, though, Pam Bondi?
No, she doesn't, no. She got fired... as most people speculate, it's because of her anti-Second Amendment stances, as the missus calls her, red flag Bondi. So the interim guy is arguably worse, which is humorous, but this guy's only intern. But to put the whole mimetic nonsense together, since we've already gone through the AI music and that, I figured, since I had forgotten to do this anyways, what more humorous way to top it off than... a lecture from the man, the legend, Alex Jones.
Okay, let's see what he got to say.
Sandra, I can tell you that I phoned President Trump to ask him, once these reports started coming out, that the Attorney General had been told that her time, it was nearing the end of her time at the Justice Department, and the President said he was preparing some remarks. We think that it is going to be the official announcement about the Attorney General Bondi leaving the Justice Department. She will not be leaving the administration. They are going to find a different job for her. So President Trump thinks that she did a good job. President Trump still likes her, but at the time, at this time, he feels like Todd Blanche should be elevated in an interim role. So the plan, at least as of the last couple minutes, and a lot of things are changing, is to name Todd Blanche in an interim role as the country's top law enforcement officer running the Justice Department.
What do you think he got rid of Bondi? I know he was mad at her for not getting prosecutions. Doesn't he know that it was Blanche running everything that killed it all? I mean, or is he that disconnected? Carl Seraphin.
I don't think Trump has ever known what the DOJ does or how the FBI works and what those two animals are and how they interact, because I just watched his last administration and he was a mess there. He swapped out AGs. He had to get a new, he got a new FBI director. It went from Comey to Wray. Wray was not an improvement. Wray was the guy who actually approved going after him in the first place. Here's the real crazy thing.
And when you go from Sessions to Barr, that's like going from an incompetent to Satan.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. It's like you took a guy who wasn't getting it done and you decided, let's go get the deep state guy that's that's already done this job before and was a problem then.
Was already scheduled to come on to talk about his prediction that Bondi would be out before it was even in the news today. Now she is out, announced minutes ago. And wait for it, talk about a punch in the stomach. I went to break and they said, sir, they just fired Bondi. And sir, get ready for this. Todd Blanche is the interim AG, and it'll be him. Democrat Party, Southern District of New York, killed the investigations of the auto pin into the CIA and FBI attacking me, everybody else. This is a completely new Trump. This is a disaster. So here's a clip just happened minutes ago. Fox News, Pam Bondi out, and Todd Blanche, who's been killing all the investigations in. So earlier today I said, well, Pam Bondi out. Maybe there's a glimmer of sanity. Maybe he puts Ed Martin in. And of course, we knew that wouldn't happen. No. The real AG that is on record. Not talking to people at the DOJ, and it's on record. He did it. Killing everything. Ed Martin. It was in the news. He told me about it. He gave me more detail. Had the chief of staff come into him 3 weeks into them being in office and said, they had a committee running and it was illegal. I want to turn state evidence. They go to Blanche. Blanche goes, you're not going to know nothing. Smoking gun. It's like having the mob's bookkeeper come in The Untouchables. A true story. Nope, sorry, you can't talk to him. Everything being killed. Everything being shut down. And then all these never-Trumpers, Trump points at him and says, you will salute them or you're not MAGA. Well, guess what? I was never MAGA. I supported Make America Great, but I want to make it free again, Christian again, safe again. I'm 1776, honey. I cut my teeth 30 plus years ago on air. And Trump rode in on our wave and did some good, but now he is a different creature. So brace for whatever new hells come. That's what I said. We started getting off course 8 months ago. It's getting bad. It's getting bad. It's like, if 12 o'clock's good and he's up here, close to it, now he's to 6 is the worst. That lever's that's spinning fast, folks. And the polls show it, 33%, his base exiting. Trump committing political suicide. Pam Bondi just did her hair and went to D.C. 2 days a week, did nothing, made money with the chief of staff off their consulting firm. Now they put a really bad man in. And what do you want to bet? He'll be the actual AG because the Democrats will prove him in 10 seconds. Trump's made the deal, or he's lost his mind, or a combination of both. Here's the Fox News clip. We'll go to call Sarah from this breaking news.
That was the clip that he played earlier at the beginning of it.
Well, Alex
how much
does
time
have.
do you think he can do his interim?
I don't know. Alex has admittedly more experience than me. Let me see. I've been doing this professionally 22 years now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's a little bit more experienced than I am. I'll admit that, but it's not by a long shot. It's just by an era. He was in there for one presidential era more than me. But granted, he's older than I am. So I have a feeling he and I started around the same age. I was in, I was about 24, 25 when I started doing this professionally. I am now 47. So, yeah, almost half my life I've been doing this. So I have my professional opinion and from my experience I've made. I want to say that everything Alex is saying, it's not wrong to have these fears and trepidations. That having been said, though, I've never known the old man to do anything particularly stupid. When he put Barr in, for example, like one of the things was, I don't think he was aware of what type of person Barr was. He was going off of Barr's track record, and Barr did have a good track record. But the problem is Barr was one of these swamp creatures. Now, he's putting Blanchett in as the intermittent. Now, my question is now if he makes him permanent, I'm going to have to obviously sit here and rethink, okay, what the hell is the old man up to? But if he's just because he was, now my understanding was he was the assistant attorney general under Bondi. So he'd already been in there. Now, this is the thing. Alex is correct. This guy was the one that was turning everything away. But what was the grounds? What was the reason? We have to remember now, President Trump, when he was in the private sector, had the best attorneys on the planet, basically. So if his attorneys are sitting there and they're explaining to him, sir, he had to turn it away because of X, Y, Z. Now, if everything that was getting brought forward was getting turned away because there was holes in it, or there was just no grounds for them to actually make a cognizant legal argument, then it had to be turned away. Now, I do like Alex. I like him and I do respect him. He's as a professional. But one of the things is
he's insane, but he's pretty well right most of the time.
Right. But my thing is now we're talking about legalese. This is a whole different animal. Blanchett might not have been the devil as Alex is painting him to be. It might just have been that Blanchett is damn good at his job, and a lot of these cases, or if 99% of the cases that got brought forth were bad, well, then 99% of the cases that got brought forth were bad. It has nothing to do with Blanchett,
Well, yeah, if you want to make a good case, you need to have a good case,
Right.
You want to have something that's going to be relatively open or shut. Yeah, that I get.
Right. And the thing of it is, there is a very slim chance that Blanchett is not the person Alex is painting him to be. It's just, it happens to be coincidental, which there is a chance that it is coincidental that every case that got brought to Blanchett was a bullshit case. That may be a possibility. Now, Trump has the inside baseball. There is a very good chance that he decided to go with Blanchett because he knew that all the cases that got put in front of Blanchett were ones that could have been dismissed for. If you can dismiss a case because of a reason, you're going to dismiss a case. That's just how it goes. That's how our legal system works. If there's grounds for prosecution and there's grounds for dismissal, if the grounds for dismissal outweighs the grounds for prosecution, it's whichever way the scales of justice tips. And now Alex, God bless him, he can be a bit sycophantic when it comes to certain things. And because now Pam Bondi, a lot of people did not like Pam Bondi. The thing of it was, again, we're talking on a federal case level. There may have just been a lot of the shit that they wanted her to do. There were no grounds for federal prosecution. All right. You want to wrap this up so you can actually go sit at the table?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish. You were making a good point.
That was it. It was timed perfectly. Easter dinner showed up right when I got to the point. It was like the period on the sentence.
All right, nice. I'll end it at that because I don't know too much about him, which is why I wanted to ask you about it. So, to everyone, happy Easter. You have yourselves
Happy
a good
Easter,
night.
America. Yep. Take care. God bless America.
God bless America.
32 Robert. Suspect threatening suicide at 35 Penn on Pine Grove. 35 Penn Pine Grove. Permit 516 on the 5. Matthews calling saying his ex-girlfriend grabbed a knife and threatened to kill her.
Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want more, go ahead and like, subscribe. In various parts of the video, we've got our QR code. Go ahead and take that thing. It'll save you a lot of trouble.